And we are live, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, 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 welcome. A million welcomes. The date is March 28th, 2019. As you guys know, another week closer to Classic, guys. Got some fresh Classic news to talk about today. Really happy you guys are coming out to hang out and chill with us. I'm joined, yet again with the boys, Melderon, Defcamp, Dunedain. How are you guys?
Hey, yo, hi.
Hi, man.
Hey everyone, good morning, afternoon.
Good morning. But before we get started, guys, as is our tradition, we need Defcamp, the priest, to bless everybody with fortitude and to deliver a greetings with gusto and enthusiasm. Now, if you have the volume turned up to max right now, I must warn you, this is just an L you're going to have to take. Defcamp, bless the people.
Good morning, Azeroth!
That was good, dude. That was good. That was a good one.
All right. What's up, everybody? How the hell you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I feel spoiled. I feel like maybe I'm softening up a little bit. I feel like Blizzard's giving us so many updates. Like, I don't know how I feel about things.
It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Beautiful day. We got another spot of news, guys. This is like, what, 3-4 weeks in a row now?
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't it more?
Oh my
like 4?
God.
I mean, it's been like
It's
5
about 4.
updates, dude.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
feel
6
blessed.
updates, I think. Six in less than a month, I believe.
666 in less than a month. All
Yeah.
right.
So,
So,
all we need
good
is
stuff.
release dates, right?
Yeah, we need his release date, and we need no sharding, and we need all that good stuff.
Maybe-
But I think this
Great
honestly was a great announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just about what was said, but I think the whole vision that they have for Classic was kind of. I feel like we got a good idea of that today with that blue post. So do you guys want to read it?
Yeah, we can read it. So Crimson
Yeah.
in the chat says 6 posts in 28 days. Like,
Holy.
what happened, dude? Did they have some meeting at Blizzard and they're like, all right, guys, we are seriously fucking up. We need to turn over a new leaf because you go from 3 months with no update, right? I think pretty sure it was 3 months, right? Something like that, and then 6
Yeah.
posts in 28 days.
I think it's clear that Activision just said, they gave it's almost like Classic Ball Team or a bunch of Navy SEALs. They're like, we don't want to know what you're doing, just go do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's great because my biggest fear since day one was Activision's meddling hand in this game. And not only do we get this news about spell batching, which we'll get into, but the sentence trying to make the most authentic Classic WoW experience as possible. That is the biggest sentence I think we've gotten so far.
Absolutely.
And I want to shout out the OG Haptics because I'm pretty sure he's the first person to talk about spell batching in videos, and so he is really responsible for this. So I really want to shout out him. I don't know
And
his
shouts
chat.
out to Sabeaver as well. Sabeaver always quick to notify us as soon as we get some news. He's like, "Hey guys, we got some news." Shouts out to
He
Sabeaver as well.
texted me within a minute of the post going up.
Who, OG
How
or
amazing
Sabeaver?
is that? Sabeaver.
Sabeaver.
Shout out to OG though.
Yeah.
We're thinking about doing a PvP show, weekly PvP show for you guys. So I don't know if you guys would like that, but yeah, pretty much, man. I think they're turning over a new leaf. It's kind of insane that we're getting all these updates. 6 posts in 28 days. I guess we can get into it now. But oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say before we get into
What are we
it.
gonna say, baby? What are you
All
gonna
right,
say?
so let's say that Blizzard announced the release date, and then they had all these different updates, smaller updates after it.
right.
Like, maybe they know the release date and they're not sharing it because they want to have that little foreplay before they hit us with the release date. Like, what if they did it after the release date? Then maybe we wouldn't be so excited about these little nuggets. That was one thing I was thinking about.
Also, they could be doing this. I'm thinking, because a lot of people were talking about, where's the beta? Where's the beta? Maybe they're doing this to kind of give us an idea of what's going on. And I don't know. A lot of people were thinking maybe they're doing this because there isn't going to be a beta because they want to fill us in what the decisions are going on with. What are they talking about? But either way, I feel just so blessed and so fortunate that we have this conversation with the Classic WoW dev team. They are listening to us. They are really taking into account what we want in this game. And I gotta say one more time again, guys, I think it's really because we have such a unified idea of what we want in Classic. This is why retail doesn't get this kind of, actual back and forth that's really positive because so many people want so many different things. We are unified in what we want, and that is just beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It shows them that we're real about this, man. We're 100%.
I think Blizzard is
serious.
impressed. What do you guys think, chat? Real quick, though, subscription on Twitch Prime by Kargoz. Thank you very much, man. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate it. The Twitch is growing really nicely. But what do you guys think? Do you think Blizzard is impressed by how steadfast and strong and high quality the content is, and how passionate people are on the classic WoW front? Do you think that they're like taken aback by, our
Absolutely.
solidarity as a community? What do you think? What do you guys think?
I can't think of a more powerful expression that we've given in this community. Like everyone is so good at telling them what we want, and then, of course we have experience from before, right? We're not coming into this blind. We know what we want already, right? So it's a very unique experience, similar to the OSRS community. I would believe is the closest analogy we can pull. But we all know what we want here, and everyone's just so good at most of us are talking about it in a respectful manner, going on the forums, making videos, whatever way we can, and we're doing such a great job. So congratulations to the Classic WoW community. This is another win for us. And spellbatching may not seem like a big deal to you, but it's how PvP, not just PvP, but also PvE, it's how the game was coded, and it's how... And the fact that they took the energy to retroactively change the game.
Yes, I was thinking about that too. Yep, keep going with that. Yep.
It's huge. It's huge. We'll get into how hard that
it
probably
feels
is.
like they're not stripping stuff out of the BFA client or the Legion client and actually like building something. You know what I mean? And all I'll say is that in the grand scheme of things, the classic WoW community, the classic WoW game and hype and everything, we really are a small fish in a large pond. Like, yeah, I mean, we're a passionate bunch. We are pretty small of a community, but I think, comparatively to the size of our community versus the amount of passion and love and support, it's insane. I don't know, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we're some huge game, but there's so much passion, and every tiny little change or tidbit or piece of news that comes out, people get so hype about it. Do you see that same level of appreciation for changes in the retail scene? I don't think so, man. It would feel...
No.
But the main difference with the retail scene is also we have way older community, I would say, and I think that's very positive. Not to say that young people will not play classic World of Warcraft, but the average age is a lot higher, and I think that's one of the reasons we can voice our opinions in a much better way than most other games or most other communities for other games can. So it's pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think a big thing here, guys, is like the positivity, the passion, but like honestly, the fact that they're doing something like this, like I was getting the feeling, especially after the demo, that things were going to be lazy, things were going to be a little let's just make it look like classic. But they're really actually worrying about making it feel like classic. And something like this, like spell batching, a lot of people think like, oh, this might not be that big, but for me, like making sure two warriors can charge each other and get stunned, like that is the feel of classic, And the fact that they are this passionate about something that honestly it could have been overlooked, and for a lot of people probably wouldn't even really notice, but it just goes to show, man, that they are taking this 100% seriously and really going to try to make classic feel like classic. And if it wasn't for the communication, if it wasn't for the passion that we had, if it wasn't for the connectivity that we have, I don't think we would be seeing this to the degree we see it right now.
Well said, Defcamp. I don't know if none of us were voicing our opinions and making all this stuff, do you think that Blizzard's version of classic WoW would be different? I would say it probably would be.
Absolutely.
Man. Like
I don't think it would have even happened, but yes,
okay,
it would be different.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think it would have even happened. That's true. So
yeah,
you think the private server communities, all that, basically made them make classic? You think not made them?
If it wasn't for Nostalrius, classic would not exist.
Wouldn't exist. What do you guys think in the chat?
100%.
Chat, help us out here. I want to get some feedback in the chat. Get to know each other a little bit, as we get into this stream.
Yeah, baby.
Without Nostalrius, do you think classic WoW would exist? Without the whole story, the narrative?
Good work. We will explain what spellbatching is in a few moments.
Yes, we'll get into it. We're just teasing at it a little bit. Yeah, let us know in the chat what do you guys think. Without Nostalrius, would classic WoW be coming out when it's coming out? Infra in the house. What's up, Infra? Nope.
Yeah, a lot of people are pretty.
Yeah, everyone's pretty much in agreement. Yep.
I mean, those guys from Nostalrius, like, they are legit superheroes in the classic WoW world, and it's not like people didn't want it before NOS, but NOS brought it to the forefront. I think it brought it to people's attention, like, oh wow, this is something that can be done. You know, people, fans of the game are doing it, and this is something that a lot of people want. You know, like for the most part, you know, there are a lot of people who got sick with WoW over the years after all the changes and love the game as it was and want to play it again. And I think Blizzard had a really firm stance for a while, like, no, we're not going to do this. You know, you think you do, but you don't. That whole bullshit, and it was really basically like almost an insult to them. I felt like anytime anyone would mention anything about legacy servers, classic servers, oh, it's like you're insulting them. You're saying that their game right today isn't good, but it was more than that. It was the fact that people fell in love with the game back then, and you know they lost touch with that player base, with those people who loved that style of game, that more MMO community-based feeling. And I think as time got on and as NOS got bigger and as all this got bigger, they noticed that, hey, wow, there's a huge community behind this. If it wasn't for NOS, dude, I feel like NOS really pulled a lot of us together.
That meeting with Blizzard, right? Remember when they met with Blizzard and Blizzard flew them there? Mm-hmm. That probably softened Blizzard's perspective on these pirates. If I was Blizzard, you might be thinking like, man, these are some shady, like, underworld people running these private servers. Meeting with the NOS team, they might have made big plays, man. They might have met with Blizzard, and like Blizzard got a good vibe from them, and it was like, man, they're doing this for all the right reasons, man. Like, maybe we shouldn't.
I think by that time Blizzard had already decided to make classic WoW, or
really,
at least, yeah, I think so. I think.
Oh, you mean the meeting with the meeting?
Yeah.
The meeting. Okay, yeah.
I think they invited them to see how they could make it and to get some of their experiences with it, and some of the data they have gotten.
Yeah.
While doing their server. So.
Yeah, Sherb Dirt makes a really good point. Classic doesn't happen without NOS, but it also doesn't happen without Blizzard screwing current WoW up.
Yes.
That's a very good point.
Great point.
We wouldn't need Classic WoW if Warcraft was not screwed up. That's a really good point. You know,
that is a good point.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people asking about the. Really? Okay, musical's a little loud.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people asking about the spell batching.
So let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. Let's do it.
So spell batching is very simple to understand. Basically, the game itself, your characters, other characters, even NPCs, upload information to the server at some rate, and that rate is called. And then each of those packets are there's like an interval, and the interval in Classic WoW was somewhere between 300 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds. Just to give you an example, 500 milliseconds is a half of a second, so it's not a small interval when you really think about the game itself. So those packets of information are sent to the server. Now within that packet could be many spells. Think of a battleground. How many spells are going off every second? A lot.
Hundreds, right? Or dozens.
So let's pretend there's two mages that are dueling. So let's make it very simple. There's two mages dueling.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them queue up their polymorph spell at a very similar time. Let's say within like tens of milliseconds of each other.
Mm-hmm.
They both click that button. Since that packet of information includes both polymorphs, when it's sent to the server, both mages will be polymorphed because this polymorph is part of the same information packet. And I hope that's clear. So that's a batch. That whole packet of information is called one batch.
Right.
In current WoW, that batch is like tens of milliseconds. That interval is way smaller.
So instead of 400, it still exists. So there's always been some sort of spell batching. But in Classic WoW, it was a much bigger tick, right? Now it's like probably
there was a lot more spells together. So like it's a lot harder right now for two mages to polymorph each other, almost impossible. You know, but back in the day, it could happen. You know, and we see it all the time: warriors charging each other, people polying each other, and I think that really gives a huge feel of what Classic WoW PvP and PvE. You know, when talking just in spell batching in general, it gives that feel of this is the Classic WoW style. You know, things were not as fast and efficient, but you had things like this happening, and in my experience, it made it a lot more fun.
It made vanilla WoW PvP what it is. That's you know, you have the meta, which makes Classic WoW PvP so unique. You have the unique spell, you have the unique class, you know, rock paper scissors kind of style of PvP, and then there's this spell batching. Those three things makes vanilla PvP so unique, and to not have one of those three things, I think would have ruined the experience. Yeah. Because we're not making the game like it used to be.
Let me chime in here too. So I could see why Blizzard would not want to have spell batching potentially, but let me explain it. So you said it really well, Melderon, but you know how energy ticks and mana ticks follow that 2-second thing? Like every 2 seconds it's going to be ticking for energy and mana. That's how I'd want to explain it to people. So every 2 seconds, you know, per the 5-second rule, you'll get a tick of either energy or mana or whatever. The suffers are done in these 2-second ticks. But in PvP, they have these 400 millisecond ticks, and pretty much you could get lucky and be right, and your spell would complete right at the tail end, right before the batch would be processed, and you would have almost an instantaneous effect from your spell. You could get unlucky and have bad RNG, and it would be right at the beginning, and that's why you have this kind of like staggered, almost delay between stuff. So if they didn't have this old school spell batching, the game would feel very different. And to Blizzard, who's looking at the game objectively,
real quick, thanks Nicholas for that donation.
Nicholas with the $40, man.
Oh, hypoo!
Keep up the great content, all you guys. So excited for Classic, and thanks for all the guides. Thank you, Nicholas. First time seeing you in the stream, man. Hit me up in Discord. I'll give you rank it there, man. Thank you very much for the $40, man.
Thank you so
Big
much,
Nick,
Nicholas.
Big Nick. So
Big Nick.
without
Keep up the great content,
what's up, the
all
robot
you guys.
talk? There's a robot talking.
So excited for Classic, and thanks for all the guides.
Appreciate it, Nick. So without old school spell batching, the game would feel very different, right? It would be more of a feeling type thing. But I could see why Blizzard potentially wouldn't want to have it, because you can't really play around that 400 milliseconds. There's no add-on that exists, right? That's able to track 400 millisecond ticks.
No.
Yeah,
Not that I know.
Not that I know.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe Blizzard is thinking, like, from their perspective, all right, man, this was a potential thing that was out of the player's control. They could just get unlucky, and it would kind of, potentially cause better players to get into bad situations. I could see why, from their perspective, they might think upon first glance why having new spell batching would be good. You see what I mean?
Josh, and I'm his prom date, by the way. So.
What happened, dude?
Look on the classic.
Let me see, Josh. Is Kargoz going to a 90s movie prom after recording? Dude, yes. Yes, I'm going, dude. I'm going. Yes. Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
I love it. Oh.
Good to see you in the chat, Josh. Good to see you in the chat. Man.
Shouts out to Josh.
Countdown to Classic. If anybody does not know what Countdown to Classic is, get on and Countdown.
Everybody
God,
knows
guys.
Countdown to
I'm
Classic,
right now.
guys.
Yeah.
Best freaking podcast or show. Period.
The best classic WoW
Someone
podcast
on this
out there, yeah.
podcast, may be on the next podcast of CDC2C. Maybe we'll see.
Oh.
I'm actually doing all kinds of wedding stuff, guys. Just so you know, I'm getting married in a couple of months, man. I'm gonna be a married man, so I've been doing all this weird stuff. But
Kargoz is going to be a married man.
That's why he's taking me to the prom now before he gets married.
Yep.
exactly, that's
So,
my day.
did you make sure that you're getting married before Classic comes out? Is that?
Oh,
is
I
that a
made
big,
sure. I made sure.
Okay.
No. My
Chimley in the house.
my
What's up,
intentions
Chim?
were a little bit tactical. You know what I mean? Like, let's knock it out of the way in May, so that summer, we'll get everything
Yes.
squared away. Then summer, we can no life it.
Now, are you gonna have a World of Warcraft style wedding?
Yeah, I'm gonna be wearing a Horde tabard actually at the altar.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
okay.
Nice.
No, I may stream it though. I'm not sure. There's some people from the classic
Oh,
community
God.
that
Don't do
that are
that.
coming. Like a portion of it, not all of it, dude. Not all of it, but I
Yeah.
might stream a portion of it just for fun. Because I do freaking love you guys, man. Like, there's been a lot of cool people I've met. So.
Yeah, a portion of it's good. Just
but-
to make sure you don't do it to your wife during the actual ceremony.
Right.
Like, it's like,
Dude, I have a camera right here. We're literally
Yeah.
saying our vows. All right, baby, tell me my vows. Tell me the vows right here. Let's go for Twitch.
Yeah.
No, it won't be like that. But
Oh, thanks for the donation.
but if you guys are familiar with North or T Mugsy or some of the people from the Discord, a lot of people are actually coming to the wedding. A lot of people that I've met in this classic WoW community are coming to my wedding. That means a
How
lot
awesome
to me,
is
man.
that?
That's so cool. Like,
Again, we wish we could come. I feel so bad. We're all the way on the East Coast, and it's. But you know what? If you stream it, we'll be there. So.
I'll be there. Exactly.
Yeah. So do you guys want to read the post and read actually what they said?
I feel like
I think it's really
Dunedain
important.
has a really good voice for reading the post, man. Maybe Dunedain could.
Do I?
He's a professor, right? He's probably this is okay.
Yeah, not English, but let me get the link.
Okay.
Okay.
I was okay, almost there.
This one's for Josh, dude. Taste of the Rocky Mountains, Josh.
Ooh.
Okay,
Ooh.
I have it. So you want me to read it like each
Read the
paragraph
first
and then-
paragraph, and then we'll talk
Yeah.
about it. And then yeah.
Alright, so since we first announced World of Warcraft Classic, we've seen questions about spell batching. While we never really eliminated spell batching in World of Warcraft, we did change how and how often we process batches of actions coming from players. So you're less likely to notice that processing in today's game. We've been working to ensure that in World of Warcraft Classic, the gameplay of activating spells and effects will not differ from the experience of playing original World of Warcraft. So, yeah, there's not much to say about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
so-
saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was relatively common in the original game to see a warrior pummel a mage who simultaneously and successfully polymorphed the warrior. The mage suffered pummel damage, but no spells cool lock because the mage didn't get interrupted. This could seem paradoxical, but it could happen because the pummel and the polymorph are both in the same batch. So that's basically what Melderon explained.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both valid actions at the start of the batch. For the most part, things like that don't happen in modern WoW, but they still can. We've made improvements to the batch frequency, and the game is much more responsive than it used to be. Still, if you manage to get both a pummel and a polymorph into a tiny processing window in modern WoW, you'll experience the same behavior as in original WoW. Right. Anything you want to add to that?
So I was just surprised they actually had. I mean, there's got to be some limitation to how fast information can be processed.
Right.
But I was under the impression like, spell batching doesn't even exist anymore. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but everything just went up instantaneously,
Yeah,
kind of.
I suppose it's technically almost impossible to not have it.
Yeah.
I think I can make some little games, so I kind of think I understand
cool.
how they do it. So I think they really need to put things together in kind of time frames. So you will always have at least a few milliseconds in which you batch them
right.
together.
See, I think it works a lot better in the classic style, especially with PvP, because nowadays there's so many different abilities that you're using. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't know where it is right now in BFA, but certain abilities like made when you use your Frost Nova and it had that long cooldown, like it was a big thing. So, I think it works better in the classic environment because there might have not been like 50 different spells that you're using all the time. You have like 4 basic things that you're going to use. I'm not saying there's less. There's actually
I actually think there's always more abilities in classic.
There's more, but what I'm saying is they're like each ability means more in classic. Like when you use your Frost Nova and it has that long cooldown, when and I think having that on there so that people can, it makes everything seem a little bit more on par with each other. It seems to have that vanilla feel. It's hard to put into words, right? Because when I'm dueling someone, and like say we both, I'm playing a warrior, I use my Psychic Scream, he uses his fear, and we both like fear each other at the same time. Like those are big cooldowns that we just used for both of us, and the fact that they both have it at the same time, it has this big effect now. Where in retail, like doing something like that, you also have 10 other things you can use to get out of there. So if something like that were to happen, it's not as big of a deal. So I feel like abilities have much more weight in classic, and this happening is like, oh shit, if we did it at the same time, like now you have to rework how you're gonna look at this fight and things like that. So I think it feels like it holds more weight in the classic environment. I don't know if that makes any fucking sense what I just said.
This is a win, guys. This is a win for Classic WoW PvP. It's gonna feel. Did anybody play the demo in the chat? Anybody play the demo? Melderon, you guys didn't play the demo, did you?
Yeah, we
Defcamp
did. We both played. Yeah.
Duna, did you play the demo?
No.
Okay, so there were some differences with the demo. If anybody's been around with the channel ever since the demo a few months ago, it felt different. I mean, it felt different playing. We were doing duel tournaments and stuff like that, and it definitely felt different. In some ways, very, very good. It felt like buttery smooth. Like it felt. We're so used to playing on these private servers where it's like hosted in Russia or something, and it feels very strange.
Dude,
like
yeah,
it felt buttery smooth, but there was something else, man. Like there was something else that felt a little bit off, and it's probably the spell batching. That's what I would assume, and I definitely did.
There was other things too, but yeah.
Yeah, other things too for sure, right? I mean, there's some actual messed up stuff in like shamans using two-handed maces and stuff like that, but there's some like just playing it felt very, very, very different from playing one of the private servers. I'm not sure if you guys felt the same way, but
well, I think that the latency issue is huge right there. Like, for me, hitting Psychic Scream and it not coming until like a second later, I mean that right there is a huge problem with having these private servers that are hosted in, like I said, over in Europe for us when we're in the United States. So that right there, I think, is a huge. I mean, it's like getting used to the game again, because that just it really interferes with their play style. But for the most part, a lot of the things I noticed in the demo that it was the feel, and maybe the spell batching was, and I would not be surprised if the spell batching was how it was on retail in the demo, and it's been changed since then. So I'd be really interested to see how it feels now with that spell batching in place. Yeah,
absolutely. And just to piggyback off my last thought too, so not to say that private servers have it better than Mans with the $50, dude. Yo, man,
boys are online. He says,
dude, that's a lot of money, Mans, dude. Thank you, man.
That's a lot of money,
dude,
brother.
Man,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, man. I haven't caught up with you in a little bit, Mans. We should, man. I look forward to catching up with you, man. Thank you,
are
bro.
the mans,
dude. You're the man, Mans.
You're the mans.
That is awesome, man. Thank you so much. Shoot, what I was gonna say.
I don't know.
I forgot my train of thought, man. Thank you, man, for the $50, man.
The boys
you said
are
piggybacking
online.
off your last,
Yes.
last thing. Yeah.
All right, piggybacking off my last thought. Not to say that private servers have vanilla down better than Blizzard. It's just purely like a little thing I'm throwing out there, man. Like it felt different from the private servers for whatever that's worth. Blizzard probably has it right.
Well, I will say this: the private server developers paid a lot more attention to the vanilla game than the classic team for the demo. Now I'm sure that's going to change when the game comes out. But the private servers were way more true than the demo was.
You think so? Okay, what
come on. I mean, the fact that they are allowed shamans to wield maces
that was
without
unacceptable.
a talent?
That was
Come on.
unacceptable. That was one of the most unacceptable
The
things.
fact that rogues were gaining energy at double the rate they should.
Yes,
And not to mention the spell animations. We had the wanding animation was a new animation. All the things that, and a lot of things were just oversights. You know what I mean? I mean, you can just talk about the graphics alone and just say that right there is different than
the
than it was in
graphics,
vanilla.
though. I mean, the graphics.
The ambiance is more vanilla-like on a private server.
I mean, you're saying because of the water and stuff like that, or what?
Yeah,
Well, the fact
absolutely.
that you can
the quality
run,
of the
you know,
graphics.
Yeah, the quality, and you can run in the grass, and the grass would move.
Okay, that's true. I did enjoy that though. It was like the grass bending back and forth. You didn't like it?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit.
like it at
Okay,
all.
let's just move past that. But then also with the parry, the dodge, the missing, and all that was wrong.
To me, honestly, the fact that shamans could wield two-handed maces though was pretty unacceptable, right? Like that is a deep talent in the enhancement tree, and they're able to just use maces.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a crazy oversight from the.
What about leaving LFR in there? What about?
I mean,
there's no functionality though. There's no functionality.
It doesn't matter. I mean, come on. I don't know. I felt like it was a little lazy.
I mean, then you talk about raid profiles. And listen, guys, a lot of people like to shit on private servers, but you know, I think that private servers have done an amazing job with what they've done so far. Yeah, there are a little bit of numbers, and I think the numbers are very, very minimal and not that big of a point. And I mean, we'll see what happens comes Classic, you know. But for the most part, guys, if you're, you know, used to certain things being the way they were on private servers, you know, when it comes to a lot of the, you know, mechanics, things like that, a lot of it, you know, they did a lot of research, right? A lot of people said they guessed, some of it was guesswork, but it was guesswork based on information that they looked up. So even if things are different in Classic, I really don't expect them to be so different that it's like, you know, oh my god, this is completely different than what we're used to and this, that, and the other. It's going to be different maybe, but just minimal changes to that.
Yeah, I think that's changing though, Kargoz. I think what we're going to get in Classic WoW is going to be much more vanilla ready or vanilla similar than what we have on private servers. But the demo itself, to me, wasn't very impressive. I'll just say that.
Yeah, the demo wasn't very impressive. If anything, it was kind of shocking. But, oh, man, do you think it overall still had a net positive impact or a net negative impact?
Well,
Positive.
absolutely. I think it did, because now look at the blue posts that we're getting. Because we play the demo, right? A lot of people were unhappy with a lot of it, and now we're having this conversation with the developers about the things that we want to see in Classic, and they're listening and they're posting this. The spell bashing has changed. The loot
That's true, dude.
trading has changed. All these things, you know, we have made an impact. And I think if it wasn't for our response that we had from the demo, and you know, open this conversation, and a lot of us, yeah, we were angry, we were this, that, and the other. But I feel like a lot, for the most part, when we made videos, when we talked about it, when people went on the forums, we said, you know, thank you for doing this. The demo and all was great. Here are the things that are wrong with it. We gave constructive criticism.
Dude, thinking about it now,
you know?
dude, Defcamp, you're actually the man, dude. So the Defcamp actually, the demo provided a platform for people to and rage out in the chat, so Blizzard could make changes. Imagine if there wasn't any demo. I'm trying to imagine right now.
Yeah.
And
imagine if they launched Classic and shamans were able to put on a two-handed mace at level 1.
oh, dude, it might be DOA, right?
It would be DOA.
I mean,
Dude,
it was almost like kind of a beta for a week, like, and it was so shit that people, because all the main problems people had with the demo are being addressed every week right now. Like, I remember people distinctly, I was streaming it, and people were like, what do you think about spell batching? What do you think about loot trading? What do you think about all this stuff? And now every week we're getting answers to this stuff, positive.
It's all the more reason why we should at least have a small beta, though, because I think, but you know what? It does open up another question to the beta and all that, because I do feel like they're really working in the right direction right now, but I think there's still a pretty far to go, honestly. And you know what? I'm okay with there being like small things here and there at launch if we do get it in summer, and then still having this conversation and working with them, because I honestly believe, guys, come launch, it's not going to be 100% perfect. It's not. There are going to be some issues. There are going to be some things that we're going to say, okay, this needs to be changed, this needs to be changed. I think we just need to keep a level-headed, as long as things aren't extremely different and extremely crazy, which I don't think they will be. We have a cool head, we talk to them and keep this conversation going, because for the most part, guys, we have an open rapport with these developers right now. They're listening, they're being 100% open with us, and I feel like we can just keep that going. And if things are a little, wonky on launch, let's just keep that in mind, because
Honestly,
it's not going to be perfect. It's not.
So do you guys want a beta?
The demo
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that they are pretty far, and I don't think they have that much work. There might be a few mistakes when it launches, but the demo, most of the work already was done. I mean, they had a playable version, and okay, there were some little bugs, major bugs basically, but they are easily to fix in the code, like the two-handed weapon for shamans. It's like a 2-minute fix, and then it's done. And I think there are a lot of things like that, like the regeneration of the energy for the rogue shouldn't be too long to fix it. There are only a couple of little changes in the code. So I would say most of the work was actually making it playable, and that's done. So they could focus for 6 months on all the little details.
Yeah, but we need to test high-end content.
That's the problem. But the only thing is, Melderon, we won't be doing high-end content until, I think they can still work on the high-end content while are leveling. There are going to be some people
get it wrong when it comes out.
I understand. It's going to happen. Some people are going to go into MC. Some bosses are going to be buggy. Who knows? Ragnaros might stay stuck in the lava. He might never come up. I don't know. Some things are going to happen, but the majority of the player base will still be leveling at that point. I think they say, okay, we can still work on this. Yeah, maybe 0.1% might get in here while it's still a little buggy, but I don't know. And a lot of it is we'll have to wait and see. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm still happy with how things are going right now. Yeah, what's the question?
So they basically said no changes and 1.12 version for everything, but I'm still thinking they might change the armor values and the damage values of the bosses. Do you think they will reduce?
I think it's very likely they're going to change the values and say that's how it was in vanilla, because they can say that and no one will ever know. So that's something that we have to consider, because it's very possible. They know the game is on farm, on private servers, and you're going to say, wait, Melderon, armor values are different. Yeah, they're probably 5 to 10% off. What I'm trying to say is, if they want to make it a really unique experience, they can even change the scripts for some mechanics, and we would never know.
I think they kind of have to buff the bosses a little bit, especially in the first 2.5.
Wait. We were talking about buffing bosses?
We're talking crazy talk.
We're
now.
talking
buffing bosses.
Well,
Crazy talk.
We're talking buffing bosses, but not announcing that. So what I mean is, Kargoz, let's say that Rag had, I don't know, 10,000 health. He has way more than that. Let's say he has 10,000 health in vanilla. Private servers don't know his actual health, so they make it 11,000 health.
I have a good
Now,
point
what stops
right
Blizzard from making it 15,000 health and saying, well,
That's
it's 15
what I'm
in
saying,
vanilla?
dude. What if Blizzard low-key, they're the only ones who have access to
Right.
what the original... What if... Do you think that they would low-key... What do you guys think, chat? You think Blizzard would low-key be like, alright, we need to increase
It's
the
your
difficulty
game.
a little bit. It's our game. We know the armor values. Private servers don't know it, dude. Let's just double the armor values on Rag. Guys, it was always like that, man. Look back to 2005 videos.
Melderon and I talked about this. We always said, what if private servers end up being more vanilla-like than classic?
They could do
It's
that, though,
possible.
right? They could
It's
do
possible.
that. They could
Yeah.
boost the armor values on Rag and these people, and no one could say anything. It's their game. I mean, they would say that would be the, that's the correct value.
Honestly, but something like that, you know what I mean? It's going to be minimal. But like look at the things like world buffs. You know what I mean? Like having the world buffs the way they were in vanilla, they might not need to increase armor and things like that because less people are going to have world buffs. They're going to be less common than they were on private servers. So I don't know. You know what I mean? That brings up a good point. Brings up a lot of questions. But why don't we finish the blue post here? We only got to the second paragraph.
Okay, are you sure? Because I saw people saying I sound like a gnome mage. So.
Dude, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to read, I can read it. It doesn't matter.
No,
You should go ahead. It doesn't matter what people think. Go ahead.
Where were we?
Wait, last paragraph? Let me see.
No.
Third paragraph, I think.
Yeah.
As with many other areas in World of Warcraft Classic, authenticity is our primary concern. It used to be the norm that combat flow and PvP balance were defined and tuned in a game where spell messages were resolved less frequently. There was a single game loop that processed all messages sent and received every server tick. Nowadays, the game processes multiple loops for messages of differing priorities. Spellcasts are high priority and have been for a long time. I will go on to the end.
Yeah, go for it. Let's finish it off.
For WoW Classic, we are moving spellcasts to a low priority loop that will cause them to be processed at a frequency that best fits how the game actually played in version 1.12. Two mages will be able to polymorph each other somewhat reliably, resulting in two sheep nervously pacing around at range. Two warriors will be able to charge one another, and at the end, the result will be that both warriors standing stunned in each other's original location. So they think it will be fun to see those sorts of things happening again.
So one thing I will comment on this, guys, I don't know how you feel in the chat, but pretty much this is the first update that they've shared with us where it feels like they had to do something really custom for Classic. It felt up until this point that they could have just taken like a Legion client, stripped stuff out of it, and kind of just, change the gear around a little bit and kind of give us vanilla WoW in like this Legion kind of nutshell. I sort of feel like they had to do some weird stuff to make this happen, to backtrack with their technology and go back to this old school way of spell batching. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. I think it honestly is probably just a number thing that they can put in there and change the numbers up. But I mean, the fact that they're doing that, and what was that one sentence that was it like the first sentence in the paragraph that you said? I don't have it up right now. Where they said
spellcast to low priority loop.
No, where it said that they're going back
authenticity.
Into authenticity. Yeah, can you read that one sentence again?
Where is it? Oh, there. Authenticity is our primary concern. That one.
Yeah.
The norm that combat flow and PvP balance were defined and tuned in a game where spell messages were resolved less frequently. Is that what?
Yeah.
Authenticity, baby.
Authenticity. The fact that they're talking about trying to get something like this, the authenticity of the spell bashing, things like that. I think that right there is probably one of the most important sentences of this whole blue post, right? Because they're looking at it in terms of, it might be more efficient to have, the newer spell bashing. It might be, a lot of developers are like, well, we were limited in those times. That's why we, only had 8 debuff slots. That's why we, because if they wanted to, they could make bosses with unlimited debuff slots or but they kept it at 16 because they wanted to keep the authenticity. And honestly, I mean, that's okay. For me, I would have liked 8, first with MC and things like that. But the fact that they're trying to work on this, right? They're trying to get the authenticity. For them, that is one of the most important things. Whether or not, some, like we were talking about earlier about the coefficients, the numbers and this, that, and the other, like whether or not things are exactly the same as they were in Classic or a little bit, as long as things feel the same, right? As long as things have that same feeling of, being difficult, being challenging, having the same effect, as long as you go into a Nixia and, she does her flame breath and, people are running around like friggin' idiots, trying to run away from each other. People are like, oh no, don't stack on me, everyone get in the northwest corner, and you got people running into whelp caves and more dots, 50 DKB minus, all that shit. As long as we have that essence of the game, as long as we have that feel of the game the way it was, that is their ultimate goal. It feels like, right? To have the authenticity of vanilla WoW. Some things, in private servers, some things were a little bit off. They did the best they could. We hopefully with Classic will be even get closer to that, because they have a lot of this information. Some of it, if they manage to do 10% here, 10% there, whatever. But authenticity is key. The feeling is key. Being able to walk into a dungeon or a raid and remembering these little things and these little ways that it was is what I'm excited about.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It takes work, right? It takes a lot of work and effort to reverse engineer. So here guys, here's the code for spell batching. No, we're going to take that code and we're going to reverse engineer it back to what it was before. That takes time and effort. Time and effort that I didn't personally think they were going to put into it. And
Right.
That's great news.
Yeah.
100% great news. So, and it's about that authenticity statement is the biggest part of that whole thing for me, is that they're putting time and effort in changing these things that really, honestly, won't break the game if they're not there, right? But the fact that they're bringing it back to make the experience like it was is very, very good news.
There
It's
is a
huge,
line
yeah.
of play with Blizzard for them to find some balance between modern WoW and old school WoW and call it WoW Classic, which they are. They're calling it World of Warcraft Classic, not vanilla or just World of Warcraft again. So there would be a line of play where they would find their own sweet spot between balance. And actually that is kind of the case. Like, it won't be identical to vanilla. I don't know if anyone is, it won't be identical to vanilla. But it does seem like they're caring about authenticity more than,
Yeah.
more than I thought. More than a lot of people
Absolutely.
thought.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? They're doing it to the point, like, guys, we all know it's not going to be a 100% copy pasta from Classic, right? That's it's not possible. Honestly, it's just not with the information they have. But they are going to try. It sounds like they're trying their damnedest to get there, and they're talking to us about it, and they're getting our input. They're getting our opinions. They're getting our stance on this, and the fact that, for the most part, we can agree on a lot of these things and what we want to see. The feel of vanilla is what's important. The feel of, going into a dungeon and having that, if we pull more than 3 mobs, we're going to die. We need to CC here. The armor values, this, that, and the other. Those things are going to be similar to where they were in vanilla. They might not be, 100% or, but they're probably going to be 99 or 92%, at least. Mechanics, things like that. Things like in Nixia, a lot of private servers were, worried about the mechanics were the same, but how the mechanics worked, right? Like, was it a roll of the dice when she did her breath? Was it a different
Proximity
number?
or
proximity?
what
Was the actual catalyst that caused it, right? So the mechanics were the same, but the catalyst was different.
What do you
Now-
guys speculate the main differences are going to be between private servers and real classic? What do you think we're going to see that's going to be different?
We're going to see some slight variation in armor coefficients, spell coefficients, hit points.
Itemization, where like in private servers, how we see tier 1 come out the way it was,
But
in
that's
the-
because that's different though. So we already have the tooltips for that. We know that happened, but I don't think
Right.
Classic will actually implement those tooltips.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they won't have.
but he's saying the biggest difference is as far as like actual coding.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think spell coefficients are going to be a little different. Not much.
Armor values.
I think hit points, armor values, and some of the scripts with mechanics will be different.
In terms of not coding, if the servers are 2.5k, that will probably be the
Oh,
biggest difference.
right. So
That's true.
outside of mathematical stuff, then yeah.
And then sharding, and then all that other
Right.
shit
Right.
is going to be in there. But like, a lot of the big thing for me is, itemization, graphics, things like that, because a lot of private servers will have the first iteration of the tier of the actual visual. So they had, like a tier 2 had the turban, and then it changed. I doubt Classic will do any of that. You'll have the last version of it. You'll probably have the last version of the item, like on private servers. A lot of times when tier 1 first comes out, the stats are actually different than what they are in patch 1.6. They change. I think Classic will probably have the last iteration of that,
Right.
but they won't have these items that came out in patch 1.10 in BRD, things like that. That won't be out until the relative patch, like patch 1.10. So for the most part, things will probably feel a little bit more 1.12ish when it comes to that whole itemization, look and style of things. You know, and who knows about the dungeon numbers? Like, will it be 10 man, Skull or Strat? Like, what is that going to be like? I hope, you know, we get the 10-man versions of them. I really don't know if they have mentioned anything about that yet. So, but for the most part, like, the actual feel, I think is going to be very similar. The actual style is going to be very similar. You know, it's going to be very, like I said, 1.12ish for a lot of things. But like Melderon was saying, like, a lot of the mechanics are going to be the same, but the way they go about those mechanics, what was the wording you used there, Melderon?
The scripting will be the scripting will be a little different. So, like you said, with Onyxia's Fire Breath, you know,
Right.
I think in private servers it's coded by it's a time. I don't actually know, but it's a time.
It's still
thing,
there.
right?
It's still gonna be right.
The mechanic still happens, but
Right.
well, that could be significant, right?
Yeah,
Let's
it
say
could.
that someone's standing too close to her, or someone's whatever.
Yeah.
It could change the meta around the fight.
Right.
That's not. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think the possibility is there for the fights actually to be different because they're guessing on some of these scripts. right?
Exactly. Like, okay, so just for example, with the Onyxia breath. So this is when she's in the air, right, and she does her flame breath. Wherever she's facing, she does a breath on the ground, and does a lot of damage. And if you're not standing in either the opposite ends of it, you will get hit from it, and you could possibly die. So the way I'm pretty sure it works on private servers is, right, it's a roll of a dice. Say, you know, the dice is 1 through 5. If it lands on 3, then she does her flame breath. So the mechanic could be in, and I'm pretty sure they talked about this on one of the episodes of Countdown Classic, that the mechanic was different. So we could see it happening more often or less.
So Crimson28, thanks for the $10. Got to get back to work. Appreciate the content, bros. See you guys on the next stream. Thanks.
Crimson28, dude, thank you.
Thanks, dude.
You've been such an amazing person, you know, in my chat and Kargo's chat. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, you know, the thing is that maybe we'll see it happen a little more often, maybe it'll happen a little less, but for the most
Gotta
part,
get
the
back to
mechanic's
work.
still there, it's the same.
Appreciate the content
And that, I don't think it'll,
See you guys on
yeah,
the
like you
next
said, it will
stream.
have a
Sign
difference, it
of
will
the
be,
horns,
it will make a little bit
medium
difference.
light skin
But the
tone.
fact is, people are still gonna be running around like chickens with their head cut off if they've
Yeah.
never done the Nixie before.
The end,
So it's
the end
fun,
result
right?
for most guilds, it's not going to matter, right? And honestly, the hit points and armor values are going to be pretty damn close.
They're gonna be very close.
Unless
Very, very
they do
close.
something like, yeah, these are the original numbers. You know, that could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it might. So, I think overall, not to sound like I hope this doesn't sound negative, but I think overall, the whole game as a whole, not this aspect, not that aspect, it's going to feel very close to private servers, except for things like you guys said, population size. That's a huge thing, right? Huge thing.
I got
Yeah.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Do it, let's hear it, yeah.
Like, you know how Taladro was saying the other day how hit chance works and how weapon skill
Yes,
interacts with
yes.
hit chance? Nobody knows that shit.
Yep.
You know? People are speculating. He has a good theory. Taladro has a great theory, but I want to see how
Oh,
weapon
about
skill,
how glancing blows.
glancing blows, weapon skill, how much hit
yeah.
how much hit you're getting from each point of glancing from each
Yep.
point of weapon skill, stuff like
Yep.
that. I want to see what the drop chances are like. Do you think the drop chances are going to be identical on private servers just across the
No,
board?
they're not going to be identical. Nothing will be identical.
Yeah.
Can you see
There's
how
always gonna
wonky
be an
classic
error rate.
DB is too when you see certain drop rates and stuff like that? Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what the drop rates, the real drop rates were with stuff. Like even just
Yeah,
linen
and-
cloth.
Yeah.
What's the chance a linen cloth drops off a Defias pillager? I want to see that
Yeah.
stuff.
And how many, because, like, you know, a lot of private servers, you know, you're not guaranteed to get, you know, 3 pieces of loot off rag. Like, or you know, you can get lucky and get, like, 3 pieces of loot or whatever. You know, a lot of times you'll get 2 pieces of loot. You know, it depends. Like, a lot of times, like, how many pieces of loot will you get per boss? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it a fixed number?
Right.
Is it a
The biggest thing, though, that the problem is that a lot of people talk about is they say that something was 100% wrong. And quantitatively, that's actually impossible. So
Right.
what I mean by that is there's going to be a margin of error from private servers to Classic WoW. And that percentage is the error. So what I'm saying is if Linen drops on private servers at 5%, and it drops at 7% on Classic, that's only a 2% margin of error. That's not 100% wrong. That's 2% wrong,
see.
which is excellent when you
Yeah.
think about that.
yeah,
Margin of error is, that's a very small margin of error.
yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
if we will
Yeah.
notice most of the errors. Maybe some will
Yeah.
be very noticeable, but I think most
yeah. I think, and that's the thing, like, right, where Nost was and where, you know, the certain Voldemort servers are today, they've learned over the time of private servers. I think private servers have gotten better over time. And, you know, there were a lot of really bad ones back in the day, pathing with horrible things were falling through the map. But a lot of these guys did their work. They went in Wayback Machine. They found screenshots. They found people fighting Rag who had the values up on there. Who saw how much health he had. This, that, and the other. Like they did their homework, right? So like Melderon said, things are going to be very similar. But a 2% change on a boss or something like that could have an effect on some people.
Yeah.
But I'm just really excited for things like I can't wait. And someone asked us the other day, they were like, are world buffs needed to clear content? Absolutely not. You can go into a lot of places and clear. Remember, guys, when you die, you lose those buffs. So if you're progressing on a boss, most cases are you're gonna lose a lot of those buffs. Buffs do help
never
you.
used them back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people did. When you got to like Nax, AQ, things like that. You would save Cthulhu, right? Go in there with your world buffs and try and attempt. But a lot of times you would wipe and you lose it. But a lot of people, I feel like in private servers, you utilize world buffs to try to get those speed runs, right? So you're doing MC, you got it on clear, you got all your, you go get your Songflower, you go get your Ani head, you go get your all your buffs. If ZG's out at the time, the ZG is the only buff that lasts through death, right? Out of the world buff. So that's one that is good while progressing, things like that. But for the most part, guys, like you can get an Ani head whenever you want on private servers. That's not the way it was back in the day. There was a wait. You had to wait.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
keep going.
like, and so a lot of the times, guys, we're gonna see people, and a lot of times people would die on their way to dungeons. They lose it, this and the other. Like, but that's gonna have a pretty big effect. People are not gonna run in there with all the world buffs. They're gonna have their consumables, things that like that. But I think that'll have more effect.
Isn't there a cooldown on Warchief's Blessing too? There's like a 6-hour cooldown or something like that. So there's going to be differences in world buffs. I'm really excited for this, guys. There's actually going to be a lot different from private servers. Think about different world buff meta, right? Different. I want to see what the spawn times are like on stuff too. Like,
But it won't be different for most people.
That's a good point, Melderon.
That's the thing, because a lot of guilds don't get all these world buffs it consumes. There are people that don't do that. There are
like
people that are
Warchief's Blessing is like the most common one though. But yeah.
Okay, that's one buff. And if you die, which most guilds do during any raid encounter, they're going to lose
progression. Yeah.
So it's going to be different. I'm not saying it's not going to be different. I'm just saying it's not as different as people are claiming it's going to be. That's all.
I want to know the official spawn times though. Stuff like Broken Tooth. I want to see
yeah.
how fast Broken Tooth really is supposed to respawn.
Or like Black Lotus.
Black Lotus. Yeah, dude.
Oh
I just did the title charm
yeah.
video. Like, I want to see how fast Prince Nazjack does he really respawn every 48 hours or whatever?
Dude, think about that. Like, think about if there's sharding, well, which there hopefully won't be. They said only going to be in the process, but like how would that work? So I don't know. Like, do you shard on the different?
Well,
servers?
someone was talking about how. What do you guys think in the chat? If there's sharding, do you think there's going to be more nodes? Do you guys think there's going to be
sharding
more?
will only exist for the first week of
That's what they said.
The starting zone.
Yeah.
I know. So let's say it's Elwyn Forest and Durotar, right? Will there be like your own set of copper nodes?
Yeah, that's how
In
it was
each
on
shard?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be like, all right, Durotar is supposed to have 50 nodes right now. We're going to split that 50 amongst all the shards, and you only have like one node in your zone. Or is there just going to be so many copper veins and everybody has access to copper veins? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a really good.
It's definitely could happen. Yeah, but again, it's not significant for the lifetime of the server. It's very insignificant when you think about the entire server's lifetime. 1 week.
I feel you.
I'm not saying I don't want it in the game. I don't want it.
I want sharding in the early game. I want it.
You do?
And let me explain it. I really want it, guys. I'm very excited about sharding. You heard it here first, guys. Let me explain to you why I want sharding.
No, you're crazy.
I want sharding for the first. This is why, guys. If you guys have been there on a private server, if you've been there on launch, you know how crazy it is. You know how
but that
hectic
was 10,000, 14,000 people on a private server.
Though, even still, all I'm saying, Defcamp, is if you did your homework, let's say you and Melderon were going super hard in the paint, come Classic drops tomorrow, you guys are ready to go, high speed, low drag, you have all your plan listed out, you're ready to go, ready to hop in the game, hit the ground running, right? You spawn into Valley of Trials, and there's 1,000 people around you, and you have to sit on the node, you have to sit on the spawn points trying to, like, tag mobs with your dagger. You can't execute your leveling plan that you planned out.
That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. But then you're never able to like speed level pretty much like that consistently.
Speed leveling shouldn't be your goal.
I mean, it's gonna. I don't know, man.
If you are playing on speed leveling, once you get ahead of that pack, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Once you get ahead of the pack,
it's harder to get ahead of the pack, though. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Let me give you an example.
You might have to go get your XP, your fucking you might have to walk around and get your XP.
It's part of the
exploration XP,
experience, man.
you know?
It's part of the
see all these
experience.
people around
Absolutely.
you. It's the first week experience.
It's part of the server. Like
Yeah.
if you join a populated server and
If
have
you're-
that issue, then that's the
Yeah.
issue of being on a
If
populated.
you're playing Classic WoW and have no patience, you're gonna have a really bad time. A really bad time.
Well, I'm saying Sharding just for the first week, first starting zones, and this is why.
No. I agree. I
Okay.
think it's gonna happen for practical reasons. I'm
Yes,
just
yes,
saying I
yes,
don't want it.
Someone
Yeah.
said
Alright.
check your subs. Did you get a sub?
No. People,
okay,
they just trolling. People really don't like Sharding.
Okay.
I think it's so. I'm gonna
Oh,
give you an example of Chronos 3, and I'll break it down for you. On Chronos 3, went in there really trying to go hard. Was there right on the minute it launched. It was an absolute clusterfuck. Couldn't get anything
Yep.
done. Couldn't get ahead of the pack. So many people everywhere. You guys know the drill. You have to go team up with 5 people and go take your chances trying to get any scrap of XP you possibly can. I like the idea. I find massive comfort and I see massive value in the idea that we're going to be able to hit a fresh server with a plan and be able to execute on that plan. That is awesome to me. That's something that I'm really looking forward to.
I mean, honestly, I just you could do that with sharding. I think it's going to be more like I love having that. It's going to be a clusterfuck, and I love that. I think it's great. I think it's awesome to have all these people. It almost feels like the AQ event, right? You have all these people going crazy, trying to find this, trying to find that. For me, that's part of the fun, dude.
It's a significant part of the server's lifetime. It's the you said this yourself, Kargoz. Each server has its own story. That's part of the server's story, man.
I
What
guess.
happened,
I think
see
if
that.
you really want to, you can get ahead of the pack by doing other things, so you can
Absolutely.
execute your plan anyway.
You can. What you've seen. What have we seen people do? Pretty much exploration leveling. You get with a group of people because you're all trying to level together, and you go out there and you just get the flight paths, and you're able to streamline the amount of XP you all get and be very consistent across the board because there's a lot of RNG. Pretty much, you're just sitting on these spawn points, and you have like a 30% chance of getting the tag on the mob, right? So yes, I can operate in that environment, Melderon, for sure. On a fresh server, I would know what to do.
Oh, man's again. Sorry.
Man's
Yes,
again with the
interrupt.
$5. Let me see. What do you say? That competition is fantastic. Once I get ahead of the masses, I get a massive dopamine rush and ride it out.
Absolutely. Yes, man.
I'm excited because, like you said, Melvin, I don't think it's going to impact the server in the long run.
Do you know what it feels like? Phasing feels hold-handy to me. And Vanilla WoW is all about people who put in the extra work should be rewarded. And I think people who
That
really,
competition is
really
fantastic.
have a good strategy,
Once I get
despite
ahead of
the
the masses, I
community,
get a
the high
massive
population,
dopamine rush
should be
and I
rewarded.
get out.
Just like people who are doing rank 14 should be rewarded. Just like
It's
people
not
who
that
go for
consistent,
next
though. It's
should be
not that
rewarded.
consistent, though, Melderon. I mean, probably in aggregate, you could probably still find a way to get ahead of the pack if you're a good player, so I hear you on that. But it's frustrating. So if you try and min-max the 1 to 10 zone, which I do, you've seen my speed leveling videos, right? And I put all this work trying to figure out the most efficient way to go from point A to point B to point C, and then there's no shot. I have no shot of executing on that.
I mean, yeah, it's frustrating though, Carter. It's like getting ganked is frustrating. Getting cant is frustrating. You're going to be frustrated in classic WoW. It's going to happen. But it's for how long is this good? It's not a big deal. Like in the same argument, it's only whatever. Yeah, it's only for a couple of levels. Like if you get ahead of that pack, okay, you're done. You don't have to deal with that. I think that it's, if you're on a server, 2,500 to 3K people, it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as it was on private servers when you had 10K,
That's for
15K
sure.
people.
Okay, that's a valid point. With a much smaller population cap, it will be less of a deal. Absolutely.
Whoa! Oh, big dog in the house.
Pig Dog, 100 NOK, dude. What's a NOK, guys? I love these chats. I'm so looking forward to Classic. I love
Norwegian money.
Norwegian
Krone,
money.
yeah.
I love Mel. My
$10
wife is getting her PhD soon. NOK is Norwegian krone, 10 to 1 USD. Damn, people never know about the NOK. Thank you, dude.
Oh, he loves
I
Mel.
love
That's
these
some love for
chats.
Melderon right
I
there.
am so looking
thanks,
forward
man.
to
Yeah.
Classic. I love
Yeah,
Mel.
so I just think
never
that
know about
honestly,
the
like we said, like honestly, you said this,
Power to your wife,
Cargoz,
by the way.
yes,
To get into PhD. I know it's not easy.
you said this, Cargoz, and it was a huge thing for me. Like it's part of the story of the server, and that really resonated with me because some servers are going to be more populated and it's going to be a lot harder, and some servers aren't going to be as populated and it's going to be a little bit easier. And I think that right there, and the actual encounters that you can have during this time where everyone's going nuts, like you might meet a great group of people and chat. And I mean, for me, like it's not so. I understand for you, it's you want to try to get ahead of that pack, but for me, I want to have. Oh my God! Like I just met 20 people for our community, and we're going around, running
It's a
around,
selfish
strangling,
thing.
trying to get XP or something like that.
Honestly, I think if you're frustrated by that, you're not going to make it far in Classic WoW.
I've just never
That's
been
my-
able to, in the history of private server launches, I've never been able to fully execute the plan that I've set out for myself.
But what if
and
the
it's
population
frustrating.
size is only 2.5k?
I still think it's going to be an issue. The people, like, imagine a service launching tomorrow. There's always been an advantage of spawning in Mulgore. Mulgore people, it's way less packed over there, and that's why you see the Tauren Druids pulling ahead right at the start. Me as an Orc Hunter, I'm already at a disadvantage right now. Not to
That's flavor.
Not to any fault of my own. I did my homework. I know my path that I'm going to take. But again, like you said, this is a selfish thing. You know, very few people are going to want a speed level potentially, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, I also do agree with you, Melderon. If you really put that work in, you'll be able to pull ahead of the pack. It will just be a little bit further down the line and stuff like that. And during
Can I come back to an earlier point?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said about the nodes. Do we need more nodes? Do we need less nodes? I think there should be a static amount of nodes, just to not mess with the economy. Let's say there will be sharding in the early zones, so
Right.
I think they should put it at a static amount of nodes. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
know it's
a static.
But what if you shard the same static nodes so that it's actually
No,
not
yeah.
static?
They should not be shard. Well, you can't do that. Then you have like 3-4 times the amount of nodes, and the early economy will be. It will mess things up.
Yeah, it's a weird. In Jaxlar, like your Kargoz, everyone starts off the same. The experienced questers will outlevel the pack. It's survival of the fittest. That's classic WoW.
Yeah.
Classic WoW is survival of the fittest. It embodies everything gaming is not today. Today,
Yeah.
everything's, oh, here you go. Oh, here you go. Here's a trophy. Here's this. Here's that. I believe that classic WoW, honestly, is pure Darwinian evolution. It is. It's raw, man.
And that
It's so
that goes
raw.
with what you said about the nodes too. I think, you know, having that static amount. I mean, honestly, for me, Dunedain, I think, you know, if there's like, okay, so what you're saying, right? If they're like in Dorotar, there's, you know, 50 nodes, let's just say, of copper at one point, right? And it doesn't change for the shard, is what you're saying, right? So if you shard, it's not changing. If the one's there, it's there for everyone. Yeah, I think that's good because honestly, I mean, yeah, it will be hard for people to level their professions in the beginning, but you know, like Melderon says, the people who get skinning are going to have a much easier time because they don't have to worry about, you know, and the people that have mining, yeah, it's going to be harder, but it's going to make those you know, heavy stones and all that a lot more expensive in the auction house. Yeah, it might take you more time to level your blacks or your mining, but you're going to make more money in the long run because it's that you know, that there's a much more need for it on the auction house. So if you get mining, yeah, it might hinder you from going and getting more XP as someone who has skinning, but you probably will make more money off selling. You know, if someone puts a friggin' rough stone on or you know, solid stone, core stone on the auction house, it'll probably sell for way more because of the supply and demand for that item.
Does it give you XP if you mine?
No, not vanilla. No.
Not vanilla. Yeah.
No.
By the way, yeah, that's something entirely different. But I was thinking about the Onyxia fight, and the randomness in phase 2 with what's it called, the deep breath.
Deep breath, yeah.
Our guild back in the day, we thought that the amount of damage over time abilities on Onyxia actually triggered the deep breath ability.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Thanks, Cybot.
Interesting.
Cybot
here with
hero with the
$5.
$5.
Yeah,
Thank you, dude. Thank you, dude. No
Ooh,
message
with a
there, but I
fiver.
appreciate it, Cybot.
We always try to keep the maximum amount of damage over time abilities on it, so it didn't trigger. That was our tactic, and well, it kind of worked for us, but might be entirely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I love that though. Like you go in to think, like you think, oh, I just figured this out, and it could be completely wrong, but it could be right. But you know what? That's what you think works, and that's what you go for. I just love classic. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I love that a lot. Yeah.
But that was really totally off topic, so.
So I don't know, guys. I think this is a great, like, you know, thing for us. These blue posts, this conversation, you know, and for the most part, you know, this is every week we've been getting something. If we continue going down this road, I think we just need to make sure we talk about the things that we feel like is important right now. I think like right click reporting is something that could, like, we've been talking about a lot. Hopefully
Let's list out the outstanding issues, dude. What are the outstanding issues
Okay.
people have chat, help us out here.
Battlegrounds.
What do you mean by battlegrounds?
When they're coming out,
Oh
PvP
yeah,
rewards.
when
honor
RPG's
system.
coming out. For me, sharding. You know, for me, right-click reporting for me.
Right-click reporting, huge.
Graphics. Like, are they going to fix those wanding animations that were in the demo?
What do you
I
mean
don't
wanding
know.
animations? What?
So, dude, if you go back to the demo and look at how, so I'm gonna do it. It's gonna look really weird. It was very fluid. They were like wanding like this. Yeah, I swear to God, dude. And you look, back in vanilla, it was like doof, doof. But in the demo,
Watch
every
that,
one was
someone make that a GIF, man, please, dude.
Yeah. let me read Cybot Heroes.
server size, Pogger. Yeah, thank you, server size.
He didn't get to
That's huge right there.
when he donated. He didn't get to give his thing. Not have sharding and starting zones because it was how the game was, and the same logic means you have to shut down the servers randomly because that's how it was. Just saying, no changes basically. Thanks, Cybot. Sorry you couldn't
Thank
put
you,
your
Sab.
chat
I
up.
didn't see that. It didn't come in the super chat, right?
Yeah, it did, and that's why I said repost it. And we'd read it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, not a shitting.
So, a lot of people are saying server size, right-click reporting, progressive itemization.
That's true. We want
R-
server
R-
size.
RP PvP. Black Lotus spawn timers. Will they come out in 1 max or 3 max pulls? Progressive itemization. Progressive. That's a
No,
huge
they
one as
answered
well.
that. They answered that though, right? They answered that.
Not fully.
Not in the extent of like what I was saying, like
Tier
how
gear.
tier gear changes.
I think
So
they
they
answered
talked
that,
about-
bro. I think they answered
No,
that.
they talked about how items will come out like so. Progressive itemization in the sense, Kargoz, that like BRD won't have the 1.10 gear that it did in 1.1.
Not if
so
it's
like,
new
it's
gear,
Surge
but
Invasion.
if they balanced out the gear, you'll get the latest, like the last iteration of that gear.
they didn't specify that though.
They didn't?
They no.
No.
Okay.
no.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess yeah. Okay. So that's just clarification on that. Progressive itemization.
Will there be clinics for WoW addicts? It's a great one, Alex.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Economy-wise, will there be? Hopefully not. WoW tokens. Will there be an in-game shop?
That's gonna be
Content
God,
phase
dude.
time
I don't want
limit.
to even hear it, man.
Will there be?
shop.
If there is a shop, will it be for?
Flying pig
What will be on it? Will it only be server transfers, which came later in vanilla, but it was there? Or
What if,
honestly,
what
I
if we
don't
don't
think
even
server-
remind him about that though? What if we just hope
I
they like
know.
forget that they could add a shop, so they don't do it.
That's the great. No shop, no WoW tokens, nothing. Like let's not even mention it, so they don't even think about it. Let's just not talk about it.
Yeah, content phase timeline. How long is phase 1 going to last versus
Yeah.
phase 2 versus
How
phase 3?
long are the
that's true.
phases? Like because phase 1 to phase 2 should be a lot shorter.
Are we
from
forgetting
phase
release
2 to
date?
phase 3?
We say release
Release
date.
date's the
Release
big one.
date.
I mean, that's the elephant in the room, dude. If we get a release,
Is there
date-
going to be a beta?
Yeah, true. True. Yep. Release
So
date.
anybody writing these down? Write these
I'm
down.
writing it down right now. Yeah, I got a whole list.
You got a pen, Kargoz? Write them down. All right.
Got the old notepad out. Yep.
With every day that passes, the chances of a demo are really getting very, very, very small.
Of a beta.
You mean, beta?
Oh, the mounts. So yeah. That's I agree.
Unarmored mounts. Good, very good question.
unarmored
Yeah.
mounts.
And how
We have
was
Dude,
in the
When it
beginning.
changed.
They should have
The
unarmored
mount
mounts,
was
man.
more expensive than the riding, and then it switched to
Absolutely.
riding.
I think
so
the
that's-
people who came in early should get rewarded and have the choice. Dude, nothing is
Absolutely.
better than that friggin' white raptor for the
That is
the
true,
trolls,
man.
yeah.
the
That
trolls,
is
dude.
true.
That is beautiful.
Dude,
beautiful.
because they would be wasting those models if they didn't put the unarmored mounts. Then like you're never gonna get value from those models. Like I don't know. Might
yeah.
as well put them in, right? That's what I'm thinking.
And then when it comes to the PvP stuff, like when the battlegrounds come out, does that mean right away the items are out as battlegrounds only ranking, and then a little bit after you can start grinding for the gear? I don't know, like because if they launch all 3 battlegrounds, say in phase 2, right? Yeah, it's going to take people a little bit to get exalted with Alterac Valley, but that's a really good gear available at phase 2. So,
True.
that's so we'll see. These are really good questions, guys. This is the kind of stuff we need to keep talking about, right? Because hopefully this is the kind of stuff that we see blue posts about in the future.
Do you guys know if they've answered this already? I mean, are they gonna do the old school friends list, or are they gonna do the new friends list?
I thought they said
Battle.net will be there, but the thing is, I don't think we still know about. Can you talk to people from the opposite faction yet?
yeah.
It said limited Battle.net integration.
Okay, but they didn't.
What that means, I don't know.
hasn't been
I like how they
specified
said
yet.
limited though. If they just said Battle.net integration, then maybe it would be
Yeah.
more clear
Yeah.
that you're just gonna have the regular friends list. They say limited, so there's a chance we get the old friends list. I really do want the old friends list. I know nobody's really talking about
Yeah,
that.
me
but
too.
I
like
know, me too. And honestly, I mean, I think this is huge. I think if they allow cross-faction conversation, that is a big no-no, very big no-no. Especially on PvP servers. I don't really know about, even on PvE servers. There's no way you should be able to right-click someone's name, add them to friends, and then try to talk to them. No way. That is a big no-no.
Yeah, it's totally immersion breaking, totally faction collusion. It's just so many different things that can happen there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, we need 1.1 talents.
Oh yeah, there you go. 1.1.
It's too late. That ship has sailed.
Dunedain is still holding on. He's still
Clinging
holding
on to
on. I
hope.
love
They're
it.
gonna
Until
be
it's 100% confirmed.
100%.
Guys, we're throwing the plan into the wood chipper. We're going 1.1.
Yep. Yeah, can you imagine?
Dude, no, there's other stuff too. Yeah, I mean, release. Okay, when do you guys think that we'll get to the point where not having a release date is gonna hurt them?
Like if it's like summer. If it's like summer and we still don't have a release date.
Because people have to plan, right? Like if you release the game tomorrow, for example, the extreme example would be like Blizzard puts out a blue post and they're like, all right, release is next week. It would it would hurt them, right? Because people are like, what? Like I haven't made it. There's no preparation here. There's no hype. There's no marketing. I sort of feel like they have to do it before the summer season, I would imagine, because I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, people are taking vacation for this.
Yeah, save up that PTO.
So yeah, I think they're gonna have to do something soon. I'd be surprised if we don't hear a release date in the next 2 months.
Yeah, same. I think in the next month. I need to plan my holiday as well, so
Right?
Yeah.
do it as fast as they can.
People need a plan. There's a certain value from Blizzard's perspective in announcing it early, so people like who are making content, who have communities, can plan and make server events and turn it into more of a thing and hype it up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know if they just. I feel like it's gonna be soon. I feel like maybe in the next. I think within the next month, man, we're gonna get a release date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do too, and we gotta get ready for it because that's gonna be a day and a half when that thing
Yeah.
happens, dude. We're gonna be.
It is.
Oh my god,
It's gonna.
that's gonna be crazy, Kargoz.
What do you guys think, chat? You think the next month we'll have a release date, or is this too optimistic right now? I mean, at this current rate, we're getting updates every week, guys. Like, I think there was 1 week where we got 2 updates. That was crazy. I feel like release date's just gonna come out of nowhere, man. Also, we gotta talk to Kyvax. I want to talk to this Kyvax guy. This guy sounds like a legend, man.
Yeah, let's get in touch with him. I don't know how, but let's use smoke signals. See if we can get
Beware
up.
of
we can get in touch
April
with him.
Fools. True, dude. They might throw a curveball at us with April Fools.
Yeah, there's that Reddit conspiracy for July 16th, and there's a lot of good reasons why. I forget. So if you go to one of our Dev Talks, we talked to Platinum WoW. It's like maybe our 3rd or 4th Dev Talk previous. He gave the reasoning why July 16th, and it's pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
I just can't remember what it is at the top of my head.
It was because wasn't that the day that it had something to do with the history of
Yeah, there was something they did. There was little Easter eggs too. That
yeah.
I forget what it was, but I don't know what timestamp it is in that Dev Talk. Sorry, I don't want to lift into the whole hour if you can't find it. But yeah, it's in there. So
Yeah.
So is it that meme? Was it June or July that whole meme for the release date?
July 16th.
July 16th. So how much time is that? Let's say we're the 28th of March right now. 1 month would be. Okay. Second.
1 month would be
Three.
gay.
We're like 4 months. We're like 4 months out, right? Potentially. A
Yeah.
little bit under 4
Yeah,
months.
that's
Like
about
3 and a
right.
half or something like that.
Someone was saying like 100 to 150 days, potentially left before.
I feel
Classic.
that would be logical, as they keep saying summer, it's classic summer, and if they release in September, you cannot really say we had a classic.
What's
summer.
up, Perfect? How you doing, Perfect Stealth?
Hey,
yeah, I
what's
think
up, Robert?
Yeah, true. You're right. Dunedain. Yeah, it's gonna have to be.
So if
I
we're
think August is too late.
3
Yeah.
months out. Okay, so I think that where it starts hurting them, to answer my original question, so and chat, please help me out on this too. I'm asking, when do you think it's going to start hurting Blizzard to not have a release date? I would say that the 3 month mark, that would just be my gut feeling, and we're rapidly approaching that 3 month mark potentially if we're dealing with the mid-July release date. So
Yeah, the thing is, they keep saying get ready for a classic summer, right? And that means to me, if they release it on the last day of summer, that isn't a classic summer; it's a classic
No.
autumn.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So
So you have to have a significant portion of the summer to play it to call it a classic summer.
Pogger thinks May, dude. I think that's very soon.
Oof, maybe.
You think it's gonna
I mean, it's almost
release in
April.
May? I hope it doesn't release in May, dude.
No, I suppose
Please
he
don't release
means
in May. I'm getting
we will
married
get
May
a release
19th.
date in May.
Oh god,
dude.
Zohan.
Oh, it's
What's up,
Ultra.
Zohan?
I see.
Not having a release date by June. Yeah, I think we'll. Honestly, I think we'll get a release date by late
Yeah,
April.
good point.
early
Tina
May.
Fisher makes a really good point. They got to get people hooked before college and high school returning students. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to get those. You want to get those in there before college starts.
But do they
cannot-
see classic like that though? They even see classic like I don't know. It's
Considering how many people in the 20s age bracket are going to play,
yeah,
I mean, like,
that's true. Yeah.
dude, I'm sure they have the NOS post-mortem. They've looked at the numbers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They
Oh.
cannot release in June, I think. People have exams. in June.
Exams?
So July, right? July.
In June, you have exams? Not in the
Wait,
U.S.
Isn't it like seen as a bad thing to release games in the summer though? Or am I am I tripping?
No, you're right. You're right. But they said they will release in the summer.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I just always
Yeah.
heard that like in the games industry, releasing in the summer is kind of a bad thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because people are not playing on their PCs. They're supposed to be outside.
Yeah, experiencing the real world. No, but it's usually
Yeah, the
Christmas
real world.
time, right? That's usually the best time. Q4.
Like September to December usually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I will
Okay.
say is talking about Classic WoW marketing, right? People, how are they going to get the people back to playing Classic WoW? We talked about this on stream a couple days ago. I don't know if any of you guys were there. So this is my perspective. I'm curious what you guys think about this. But that's a big thing I think about. So how do you get people to come back and play this game that's been around for so long, right? How do you get the new generation interested? How do you put a spiel out to them and say, why don't you try out this new game? It's like a way older version of the game that's already out. I think that's the thing that people think about and go, that's one reason why Classic may not succeed. There's no real obvious way to market the game. And as I was thinking about it on stream, we kind of figured it out together. This would be my perspective on it. I believe that if you showed the people this trailer, the original trailer, that's all you need, man. Wait, this is the Classic WoW trailer. No, this is not it. The original
Yeah.
trailer, dude.
The original World of Warcraft trailer.
World of
Do you
Warcraft
think-
War from the Bear? Yeah.
Do you think this holds up enough that if, let's say, you never even knew about WoW, I think you'd still want to play it, seeing this trailer. I think it still holds up.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely still.
or what you could do, Kargoz, and this could piss a lot of people off, especially no changes people like myself. I don't know if this would make me angry though. Why wouldn't you redo the cinematic? The same cinematic. Don't change a frame, but update it graphically.
I don't
think
think.
they
I
need to.
don't know about that.
No,
I don't think so. Come
I
on,
mean,
no,
I would
no,
like to
what's
see it
wrong with you?
personally.
because
But it would be.
it's a fresh take because it's not vanilla WoW. It's World of Warcraft Classic, right?
Yeah, but it's still.
I can
the
imagine a lot of
same-
memes might pop up though, dude. I'm just imagining right now. I
Yeah.
can see the
It's
memes.
In the
possible.
beginning, you have Will
possible.
Smith. Oh, that's hot.
No.
But look at this, guys. I think this holds up. You know, some of the old cinematics, they look a little bit dated. This doesn't look dated to me, man, in 2019. I feel like if you play this to the people, even if you never heard of World of Warcraft, you'd want to play.
It's a perfect cinematic. There's
It is.
nothing-
No, it is.
Ron, you're
It is.
crazy. Why did you even say that?
Because it's because I know marketing people. I know how marketing
Yeah,
people
I
think.
know.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Dude,
you know,
this cinematic still holds
Yeah.
so much
It
power.
really does.
So much intrigue.
Imagine
so
you're
much
watching a
dynamic.
baseball game, you're watching a football game, you're chilling on the couch, you know, you're maybe a little bit older, and this
Yeah.
comes on the trailer. How hard hitting is that
Oh
going to
my
be?
God.
Blizzard, if you're listening,
Oh my
please do
God.
that. This is your trailer. You own it. You own this IP. Just pay to have this trailer pushed out. That's all you need, man. That's all
you
the
need.
marketing
And then
you
at
need,
the
man.
end, World of Warcraft Classic returns. Summer.
I mean,
2019.
when the dwarf
Yeah.
came on the screen on BlizzCon when they announced Classic with their,
Yeah.
I mean, you heard the crowd. So
Oh my God. I love the undead.
I think it might work. I'm just still a little skeptical with kids these days. I don't know if it'll
Who
grab their
cares about the
attention.
kids?
No, but
we're the
I
ones
think the
playing
kids
it.
will look at this. How does this look dated
We're
right
gonna
now?
play it regardless. How's this gonna
Yeah.
affect us? I'm talking about it from a money standpoint.
The
this
music
still
is
looks
on
great.
point. That it doesn't look corny at all to me. If I see some of the old Diablo cinematics, I love the game Diablo. I played it.
Honestly,
recently,
dude,
but
they can literally put a
aged
black
so
screen.
well.
They can put a black screen and say World of Warcraft Classic, and I would play it within a millisecond. It doesn't matter for me.
You would play it.
Carter's talking
Yeah,
about you're talking about people who don't know about the game, and I don't know I can't answer with
I think
confidence that this would work or
aged
not.
so well.
I would be so hyped. I could be 13 years old right now. I see this big bear blunderbuss pop into this torrent. This would get me hyped, man. I don't know.
Oh,
What do you guys think,
absolutely.
chat? Let's see. Great
Oh,
cinematic.
here it is. Here's the hunter.
It doesn't look
shooting at the
dated. It
tarn.
aged just as well as classic aged. This is the only marketing tool you need.
Absolutely, absolutely. I 100%.
And then all they would do is at the bottom, like right there at the bottom, they would just put classic at the bottom.
Yep.
Like maybe they would
I
just
would say
redo the logo a
at
little
the
bit.
end right here, I would say World of Warcraft Classic turns, and then the date.
And the date. Yes, dude. Absolutely.
yep,
I
yep.
agree.
Yeah, so perfect stealth is very good. TV spots are good for older players, but the younger players need ad rolls on Twitch, YouTube, as well as getting 5K Andes on Twitch playing
As
it.
well
Yeah,
as what?
as well as 500K plus on Andy's Twitch playing it.
No, 500K Andes is a way of saying like, oh, you're a 1K Andy, you're a 1,000
Yeah, well,
person.
obviously, see, so this was obviously there's perfect stealth. Right, I have no idea what he's even talking about in that last sentence, right? Because I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
Old guys looking for TV.
He's like, who's
commercials.
Andy?
Yeah, I don't even know who Andy is.
It's not a person.
Yeah, see, I don't even know what memes are.
He doesn't. It's true. He doesn't know about Twitch emojis. I think that's a good thing though that Melderon doesn't know about the Twitch emojis. That's
Yeah, I don't know anything about that
your
stuff.
soul has yet to be corrupted, man.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
guys, we need Andy. We need Andy to come on here with his 500K viewers. We need Andy's help. Hashtag let's get Andy on here. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
I just feel like you could have a 10-hour discussion going back and forth on the best way to market the damn game and get new players interested. But then this cinematic is just the catch-all. All you need is this, man. You
Yeah.
push this
Oh,
out.
Yeah, so Nicholas, I have no idea what that means. What Progress from Melderon means. I have no idea. Not even
Because he
close.
doesn't even know what poggers means.
Yep. None.
We need ice.
Defcamp tried to explain it to me once, and I was just like, I don't understand.
But in that same vein, like I don't even know how to a computer. Like so.
Yeah, at least there's that.
Yo,
But
Melderon,
it's a good question, Kargoz.
what does
yeah.
PogChamp Ellie Giggle mean to you?
I don't even know what the first word was. What is PogChamp?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude. He's pure of heart. He's pure of heart.
He is.
I'm old, man. We didn't have memes when I was growing up.
Yeah.
What is pog?
Yeah.
I am a chubby.
I mean, we said cool. We said, hey, man, that's cool.
Can you
Like, I don't know.
can you just imagine the difference though?
we said groovy, man. We said
Yeah, yeah.
groovy.
I think it would be different if someone was trying to explain
thanks,
the
Chris.
appeal. Oh, we got a donation. $25, man.
Oh.
Thank you, Chris, man, for the 25. Dude, Kargoz, you're looking slick, bro. Can't wait to release date myself. Yes, man, Chris. I can't wait to play together, man. We've been...
Oh,
Hey, dude.
Claw PhD. Pogs are the things that people played with, those little circular things? Is that what you're referencing when you say when people say pog?
No, but those were dope, though. Anybody remember Pogs? They were a little...
Dude, I love pogs.
Hold on, what
I
were
used to
they,
have
though?
a golden pog.
Were they paper?
Yeah, the slammers. I remember that, dude.
They were
They're like-
paper.
Yeah.
They had the golden ones, and I had a whole jar. Remember my jar of pogs?
Don't tell me they were
Melderon?
paper, dude. Pogs were paper? They weren't even like
Yeah, they were
plastic?
made out of-
They were like, well, they were cardboard or something. They
Yeah.
were, yeah.
Slammers, yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
And those, you had the heavy slammers, and you threw them down on the thing.
Yep.
Oh,
You're telling me
Yeah.
Pogs, dude.
Pogs.
Pogs were paper.
Pogs, bro. Yeah, is that where poggers comes from? No.
No, it's not. But you're right. Wow, they're actually paper. That's crazy. I kind of held them in higher esteem.
Honestly, Perfect Soul says, yeah, I honestly think the game will market itself for the younger generation. The game will be #1 on Twitch the first 2 weeks. I'm willing to bet money, dude. Great point, Perfect Self. With people like Soda Poppin' alone, right? Soda Poppin' playing Classic WoW will be huge. He's one of the biggest Twitch streamers. He's a Classic WoW advocate. Soda and Asmongold, all these big streamers, dude, playing
Thanks,
Classic
big
will be
dog.
huge.
Thanks, dude.
With the 200 knock, dude. He loves you,
Word of
Melderon.
mouth
I have
specific.
another statistics video coming up soon.
I love Mel's
I promise.
statistics videos.
I'm
I
seeking.
love it, Mel. Thank you so much for the 200 knock, man. I love it, guys. Anybody else love when Melderon goes full scientist mode?
Oh, dude,
More of
I
your
love it.
statistics.
You can't help it. It's in my nature.
I love it, dude. You gotta do that more, dude. Like, you turn on. You flip the switch and you start going off. Like, full,
Like teacher mode?
full
Yeah.
PhD mode, man. I love it, man.
Yeah.
That one shaman guide's one of my favorite videos of yours still.
Yes, Summit, Tim. Oh, I'm sinking again.
Kriparian is coming back for Classic too, man.
Kriparian. Is what's his name coming back? Wreckful.
I don't know if Rekful's gonna play. I
Yeah.
don't know. Did he play original
Canyon?
Classic? I don't even know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying. I know he was a WoW
He's gonna
streamer.
probably play. Yeah, I was watching Kungan the other day.
What about what's his name? the best paladin in the world.
Oh,
Athene?
Athene, yeah,
Round
yeah.
the corner. That's funny.
You know he's a Belgian, right?
He is a Belgian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had
He's
some
a weird,
Dutch
he's
videos.
a crazy dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a little out there, but
Is it confirmed that Summit's gonna play though? Did somebody even play Classic WoW? Or Vanilla WoW?
Asmongold, Soda Poppin', Shroud, Tim the Tatman, etc. That's at least 500,000 views between them.
I was watching
Oh my
Summit
God.
play
And
play
Kargoz,
GTA
of
5
course.
the other day. Yeah, all 1K. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. But I was watching Summit play the other day. He was playing GTA 5. He had like 38K viewers, man.
Dude, oh, you were watching the RP event they were doing?
Yes, the RP event.
That was literally one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was so funny.
If all those dudes play and stream Classic WoW, man, there will be millions of people playing, man. I don't
Dude,
know.
we should do that for Classic WoW when it comes out. Do these RP events, like go into RP PvP realm and have a live stream where we all just RP. How funny would that be?
It'd be funny.
Yeah, it would be funny.
Okay, guys aren't as hyped as I am about it.
Okay, so
I
okay, no.
really like
So
that.
I know nothing about GTA 5. You know something about this, Defcamp? I see. That
Oh
you know
yeah,
some of this.
I've played it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you
it was great. It was really funny.
So the appeal of
The life
GTA
of
5
Kevin.
could it be replicated in WoW? Like, what's the difference between like a GTA 5 RP thing?
Well,
and-
no, it was just like, yeah, we could just RP as our characters, and so like, you know, the thing in GTA is like, so they live their own life, right? So basically, like, you know, they try to get a job, they try to do this, they try to do that, but we could just RP as like, okay, you know, let's go to this place together. We can make our own story within WoW, you know, and it doesn't even have to be on the like through the game. It doesn't have to be questing. We can just say, okay, you know, like we're going on a journey to Stranglethorn Vale and like have all these things and go on an RP server and make this event. Like we could put it, you know, say on the Classic WoW.live. We go on Classic WoW.live. We say, okay, anyone interested in this RP event, here are the rules. No one can come out of character. Like here's the goal. We all are trying to get to do this and have like everything together where everyone has to adhere to these rules, and then it becomes this RP event and everyone can join in. And as long as they don't, you know, break the rules, like it would just be this, you know, you could do it to, like it could be a race. You can make it so whoever gets the most, just all these different things. You can make it like this huge RP event. I think, and what better platform for that than put it on Classic Live, put it on the forums, have people come check it out, and then we just do it from there on the server.
I'd love that, dude. That'd be fun. I also have some other stuff I want to share with stream events that we could do. It'd be really fun. Real quick, MC Skull, subscribe with Twitch Prime, dude. Thank you very much. Thank you. Much
Hello.
love to the people over on Twitch watching the stream. One thing I was thinking about too, I agree, Defcamp. Those RP events would be great. Also,
Yeah.
imagine this. I think it'd be kind of fun. I would actually want to compete against Defcamp and Mel, dude. It would be fun. Imagine we did like a race to see if who could complete RFC or Dead Mines the fastest. And it was a one-day stream event though. And you would push the limits. Like you would probably go in there at like level 10 or something and see if you could complete it, or maybe you would try and get a little bit higher level. Whatever would be the best strat. But the cool thing is you could do that all in one day, and you would have your A team, you know, from your community, and we'd stream the whole thing, and we could see who could to get through it the fastest. I think stuff like that would be.
We're
fun,
going
dude.
Shaman Tank, baby. We're going Shaman Tank.
Shaman Tank.
Yeah.
Dude, Shaman Tank, you know, it's so great because I don't have to worry about his rage when I heal him as a priest. I can just bubble him,
Just
right?
bubble me, dude. There's no rage issue.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
it's really nice.
That is true. No rage issue. I'm going Druid though. That's what I would go. Shaman Tank versus Druid Tank.
Okay.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun, man.
Have you decided Warlock or Hunter yet, Kargoz?
I'm still thinking about it. Right now, I'm leaning towards Warlock, but I don't even want to say that
Dude,
because it feels like such a meme.
You
because one
are a
week
hunter. Like that would be me saying I'm gonna level a shaman. You know?
Yeah.
You guys actually kind of convinced me to go Paladin. Someone of you said, you're a Paladin, so go Paladin. I think it's Melderon.
It's
Yeah.
So
man.
I kind of agree. You're a hunter, so go hunter.
It's almost the way I feel about it is I am a hunter. It's like, oh man, I see this other class. It looks shinier. It accomplishes stuff better than I want to accomplish it. But at the same time, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain. Like, would you trade places with Brad Pitt or something like that, or some person who is
Absolutely
super
not.
like handsome or something, right? Like maybe on
Hell no.
paper, they are kind of.
Because they're not classic WoW enthusiasts. Why would I want to
No,
trade?
not like that. I'm just
Exactly.
saying, like, if you could trade stats or something with Brad Pitt, right? It's
No.
not you. Like, everyone has flaws, right? Everybody has their own flaws. And you think about it on paper, like, damn, look, Brad Pitt looks like he's living the good life. But then it's not you anymore. So that's kind of the dilemma.
You gotta be happy with what you got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a certain hand of cards you've been dealt, and then, you just...
Yeah.
But I'm still.
I mean,
You know what, Kargoz?
I've been through ups and downs, but I wouldn't trade the experience with anyone. You know, it's just that's my.
I don't
want to
say like you play this, you play that, whatever you feel most connected to, though, dude. And I know you love Hunter. You know, and the great thing is, Kargoz, you can make a Hunter and then make a Warlock.
It's
make
true.
them your alt.
It's true.
You know,
it's
just.
True.
But what do you feel like you're gonna spend most time doing? For me, I know it's gonna be my priest. You know, for Melderon, I know it's gonna be a shaman. For Dunedain, he knows it's gonna be his paladin. For Kargoz, we know it's gonna be your gnome rogue. So.
Oh God, dude. No, rogue, man. I'm just gonna roll around. I've developed such a hatred from the rogue community. I'm not gonna move anywhere unless there's a flare under my feet, man. I'm just gonna I'm gonna hopscotch.
Dude, I do that on my Hunter all the time. I flare all the time, dude.
I'm not moving
so
unless there's a
paranoid.
flare there, dude. We're doing stepping stones, dude. Flare, 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 and I'm rolling like 3 deep, man. I'm not getting killed by a single gnome rogue. Fuck that, no. Not happening, man.
If I see a gnome rogue jump out of you, I'm just gonna not heal you.
Oh no, man.
I'm kidding. I probably would actually. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. 1v1, dude. You gotta let the 1v1 go, man.
Oh, have you guys seen Platinum's new video today, dude? It was really good on No
I
More
didn't
Gun.
see it yet. What
Oh,
is
it's
it?
so funny, dude.
I haven't seen that
It's
yet.
so funny. It's really. He did the intro to Dexter's Laboratory as the intro to No American. Or No More Gun.
Dexter's Laboratory. I remember that.
And
DD,
one
my
of the
first
people
love.
in this podcast maybe have did a voice for him.
Yes.
You?
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe. Just go check it
Oh.
out.
I will check that out. That's
You will.
awesome.
Oh, I can't wait to put out the. So yeah, guys, I
Yeah.
don't know.
When's it coming out?
Well, I gotta get back with Taladrill about that. So yeah, the.
Meme Buster?
Well, I don't
Yeah.
want to talk too much about it here, so it's gonna be a little surprise.
Well, you could give
know.
people a little taste of what's to come.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really awesome,
so-
honestly. I'm really excited for it.
So guys, I was talking about a little bit of my stream. So basically, there is of course a lot of classes in vanilla WoW that people think of as memes, right? You know, whether it's a feral tank, whether it's an LA shaman, whether it's a balanced druid. So I myself and Taladrill has extensive knowledge of this game, got together and said we're gonna be look at these memes and see are they valid or are they not. And I sat down with him, and I have to consolidate now 2 hours of him speaking just amazing knowledge into like 10-15 minutes. But we actually got. Why are you guys laughing?
Kargoz is making you sink.
Keep talking, dude. Keep talking, no. No, you're good, dude. You're good.
And the best part about it is we got Platinum to do the intro for it, and yeah, just show on top of my head. That's perfect. There you go. I hate you guys.
All right, I'll fix it. I'll fix it, dude. I'll fix it. Defcamp hates that I have only him.
Sinking Defcamp.
So I'm always sinking. I'm always just like going down.
That's funny, dude.
No, but it should be a really good video if he ever gets it done. Yeah.
What is it? What
What are you
is it
doing?
coming? I'm fixing you, man. I'm fixing you. I'm making you stronger, dude. We're good.
All I gotta do now is just get back with Taladrill and just cut out some more points, and that's it. So
I see, man.
yeah,
Wait, is it the first episode done? You didn't finish it, right?
this is the first episode. It's almost done. Almost done. Yes.
Wow, look how much better he looks.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
It's his face. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, we're good, dude. Look at him, man. It's like a whole new man.
I just love how you have this control over me.
Yeah.
That's-
There it is. There it is.
there he goes.
Nice.
Looking sharp. Looking sharp.
Deaf forehead. Dunedain's gonna be getting his. So we're working on that soon, very soon.
He technically has
Yeah.
a camera.
Yeah.
It just wasn't
Yeah.
working today.
It
Yeah, it wasn't working
yeah.
today, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
we tried.
next time.
We tried,
we did
guys.
try.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss the tier 2 paladin though, but
It
Yeah,
does look
yeah.
nice.
I am
We
gonna miss
can
it.
put it in the middle of the screen, maybe.
yeah.
Well, you just have to you're gonna have to go dress up, play that every time you
yeah,
record.
yeah. Would be awesome.
Dude, one day we should all dress up as like in our respective tier sets.
I can do it. I can toggle us over to have us all in our actual characters. Look, let me try it.
No, he means in real life.
In real life,
IRL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
make a cardboard giant stalker balders, put it on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
These big things coming off your shoulder.
Yes, sir. We'll go to BlizzCon, next BlizzCon in full cosplay, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Oh, that's
That
a
would be
good question. Oh, so Kellis has a good point. We got a guild name. Well, it's not sinking
Yes.
Defcamp, but we've said this before. It's not like hot fresh news, but we are gonna play together in the same guild, and I'm pretty sure we figured out the name, right, guys? Can I say it?
Yep. Say it. Go ahead.
Can I say it? All right, guys. So we may not be winning any points in, the most original name in the world, but it's a solid name. Everybody seems to be on board, and we have kind of a backstory to it too, which I think is important. We are gonna make a guild called Invictus, and kind of a brother-sister guild, Invictus Invicta. So if you guys are interested in playing with us, hanging out, that is going to be on the horizon. But we'll probably do like a dedicated stream or something like that once we flesh it out a little bit more. But lots of people, lots of cool people, and it's gonna be an era, guys. It's gonna be an era.
So are you going to take like off specs to raids and stuff?
No.
Not one of the guilds. Definitely not one of the
No
guilds.
off-specs allowed, dude.
Yeah, one guild is going to be super hardcore progressive. One guild will not be. So.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be.
But they both will be rating.
Yeah, we'll be rating. No,
Okay.
I'm just joking. Yeah, there'll be a little bit more of a more relaxed rating schedule on one, and then there will be one for people that are really trying to go above and beyond. I'm gonna stay on the more casual side, as you guys probably know by now. I want to focus more on community type events, do more PvP and stuff like that. I think Melderon's kind of in the same boat. Maybe raid a couple times a week, something like that. But I definitely don't want to stop doing talk shows and fun stuff like this with you guys.
Absolutely not. Are we doing a vetting process? Perfect Self asked.
I mean, certainly there will be much stricter standards for the more intense guild.
Guild,
Like the
right,
guild's
yeah.
rating more aggressively, and that's at least out of my hands. We have people there. There will be dedicated leadership for both, right? So there will be dedicated leadership for the more hardcore guild, dedicated leadership for the more relaxed guild. It's gonna be fun.
Both on the same server, or
Yep, both on the same server.
and both
Yes,
boards,
sir.
I suppose.
Yeah, we can't get into it fully, but a lot of the content creators, like somewhat smaller content creators, we're all gonna roll together, and it's gonna be an era, guys.
Not even so small. So some bigger ones, and everyone come class is going to be.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
have a guild named the Fellowship on an Alliance EU server, and I will take some off specs, not a lot, but some will be.
So do you mind if we come and play with you on that guild as well?
Of course not.
Oh, yeah.
Someone just asked Kargoz will have an EU guild double. I'll probably join Dunedain's guild, man. EU guild.
Exactly. Yep. And
Yeah.
I will be playing Paladin with probably Dunedain, so
That's
that'll
awesome,
be fun.
man.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
You are playing an amazing class, dude. I have to say, Paladin. I know Melderon hates the Paladins, but dude,
The Paladins
sworn
are so
enemy.
good. They're so great.
It's my sworn enemy. I can't. It's
Honestly,
it's the antithesis of shaman.
You know what? I love every class in this game.
Yeah,
Like I have my
I
least
was
favorite
going to
class,
say
which is
that.
first, but I love them. Go ahead, Dunedain.
No, yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say exactly what you said. I love every class, and when I hear you guys talk about it, when I hear Melderon talk about Shaman, or I hear you talk about the Priest,
Uh-huh.
I kind of want to play it, and that is like my least favorite what's it called, race.
Yeah.
And when you talk about it and you say why you want to play it and why it's so good as a priest, and you're like a little bit loner sometimes, but you
Yep.
kind of are way different in your head and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I feel you, and I'm like, yeah, I just want to play an undead priest right now. So I really can bring up some love for every class.
That's awesome.
Even the gnome rogue.
even the no
Even
bro, can you
the
explain to me
no-bro.
what you latch onto with the rogue class? I'm trying to rehabilitate myself here and become an
Well-
upstanding member of the classic community and appreciate the existence of rogues, but it's very difficult for me. Difficult for me.
I think just in vanilla World of Warcraft, I really like the lockpicking skill and the poison making skill. It's
Okay.
something really unique.
That's fair. That's
which
true.
no
Unique
other class has.
professions. Okay.
So that's really cool. And a gnome might be cool because it's entirely different from everything else. We have a donation of $1.
Mountain Dew ramen. Ooh, that is what we're all going to be eating come class. Mountain Dew and ramen.
and ramen, not together. Mountain Dew I wouldn't advise you boiling Mountain Dew and adding ramen to the boiled mixture.
Well, that
Thank you for the
sounds,
$1, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bro.
Thanks, brother.
So I think gnomes can be nice because they're entirely different. But that's about the only reason I would play gnome.
You know what else is great about rogues in vanilla?
Nothing.
Kargoz.
Nothing.
Yeah, what?
the fact that we can camp this hunter in Kargoz.
You
No,
can
no,
try.
no. So
You could try.
So honestly,
He's gonna have a flare on below his feet at all.
flared.
At all
yeah, at
times.
all times, dude. We have a trap. So disarm trap is also awesome. Don't forget about that disarm trap, baby.
Disarm
But-
trap.
Honestly, like I feel like one of the best as a rogue, right? I feel like you just do really good damage while leveling. You do really good damage at in game. You're very good at PvP. You know, it's a little hard leveling, but like if you want to go into a group while leveling, like warriors do great damage at in game, but I feel like rogues are at a really good spot throughout their whole lifetime in classic while leveling. You know, they do great with gear, they do great without gear. Like it's just crazy the potential you can have. And I don't know, the class fantasy of being like that loner type person who is like off on your own, you know, doing whatever you got to do. I like that as well, and that is why I think I like the rogues.
I'm gonna
as
clarify
well.
something that someone just reminded me of. So even you said this, Defcamp. The orc racial, the hardiness,
Yeah.
the stun resistance.
Yes.
It's not 25%.
It's more,
Yeah,
buddy.
it's
It's
more
more,
than that,
buddy.
yeah.
Hit him, Melderon.
It's more.
It
yeah.
increases whatever the stun resistance is. So say it's 1, it increases that by 25%.
Right.
So I just want to make that clear. A lot of people were talking about it during the stream, and I get stuff wrong all the time. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
people know it's not a quarter of the time you get a stun resist. It's way less than that. Way less than that.
Wait. What?
Less
Okay.
or more? You mean?
Look at the tooltip.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
Let's
look it up.
say your stun resistance is 10.
It's 15.
What
That's the
is-
baseline. 15 is baseline.
Okay, 15.
Yeah.
What's 25% of 15?
Wait.
So
No way. Is that true?
Yes. Look at the tooltip.
Okay, let me look at the tooltip.
So
What
your
is
stun
hardiness,
resistance
right?
will only be 18.75.
Hardiness racial orc. You hold on. No. Let me see here. Duration. No, this is some retail. Garbanzo bean salad right here. Let me see.
Garbanzo beans.
Let me see here. Hardiness, right? Hardiness.
Making me hardiness.
Yeah, 18.75. Right,
All right,
correct.
I got it. Chance to resist stun effects increased by an additional 25% chance. So you have a
25%.
baseline chance to resist stun effects of 15%.
By 15. 15 times 0.25 is 3.75. It's 18.75%.
No, dude, don't say that, dude.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone gets this wrong.
No, how do you
Really?
know? How do you know,
Yeah.
Melderon?
I thought it was more than 20.
I know because read the tooltip.
No,
Wait,
dude,
wait,
this
wait.
is some.
No. Think about it though. Read it again. So
Don't shatter my
increases
dreams,
your-
man. That's
It
no way.
increases whatever your stun resistance is, which Cargo says is 15.
Right.
It increases it by 25%. What is 25% of 15?
Nah.
3.75.
Nah, no, dude. No way.
Okay,
Man.
just
No way, man.
Don't doubt the doc, says Chimley.
Let's see. What do you
That's
guys think,
still
chat?
around
Is that
20.
true?
I'm just reading the tooltip. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, so it kind of almost equals out. Okay, I see why people why.
It's not 25. It's less than 25. It's 18.75.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's significantly different.
I thought it was what Philip C4 said. Or is it 15 plus the 25?
I thought it was additive. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought it was that.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
huge. Then that's
Well, 15 isn't really 15% though, is it?
what Cargo said. The value of 15, whatever way you spin it, 15%
Right.
or 15, 25% of 15% is 3.75%.
It's still very strong.
No,
either
I
way,
think
though.
it's additive, bro.
But it's
gotta be,
not
because you get it
25.
at the baseline. Like that's not a buff or anything. Like you spawn with that.
It says the
25%.
tooltip says increases stun resistance by 25%. It doesn't say. I don't know, man. I
All right,
I
this is what
heavily
I want the
doubt.
next blue post to address. Blizzard, if there's any representatives watching this
But
right now, can you please
You
clarify?
gotta remember, Blizzard does stuff like this, like just like the wording for increases like for spell power. You know, you have up to 25 or up to 32, so you can never really go by
So
what
yeah,
it says in the
the
tooltip.
Jimbo Van Barlow says exactly. There's no way orcs have a 40% stun resistance.
I thought they could have 50%.
If you're saying it's
man.
additive, it's like 50%. It's 40%.
Well, no, if you're an orc warrior, you can get the additional stun resistance, and I thought that would be like, people were saying that's 50% stun resistance.
That's crazy. That's way too
So
high.
the warrior talent in the Prot tree is Iron Will, right? Increases your chance to resist stun and charm effects by an additional 3% per point. So 5 points, that's 15%, plus the 15% base would be 30, plus the orc ratio would be 55. No way. You think that's not possible?
No, that's too high.
Yeah, it's way too high. So yeah, Ruben Ninja, it's 25% of your current stun resistance. Correct. That's exactly how I'm reading it.
Okay, we gotta test this, I guess. But so how much would it be if you had this?
It's very easy to test.
Okay, so you had let's say you get 15% additional from Iron Will, Melderon.
What's Iron Will? Sorry, I'm
The
lost here.
The orc talent. So 5 points.
Hardiness?
No,
You mean the warrior talent?
the warrior talent. Sorry, my bad.
Okay,
The warrior
okay,
talent is
got
called
it.
Iron Will. It's a tier 2 talent in the protection tree.
Yep.
5 points
Mhm.
increases stun and charm resistance to stun and charm effects by an additional 3% per point. 5 points, 15% plus the baseline 15%.
So so say you're an orc, right? So it's 15 times 0.25
Well, are you?
plus 3.
So you're saying that this also doesn't work in that way? It's only going off of your 15% baseline resistance.
It goes off. So in an orc, you have 18.75% because of your racial, right?
Okay.
And what's the percent? What's the percentage for the talent?
15.
Times 0.15. So that's just in another additional 3%, 2.81%.
So what are we at?
We're at
Given
about
this-
20-ish, 21-ish.
This
Yeah.
is blowing my mind.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, everyone agrees with you, Melderon.
Yeah.
Trust me, Melderon is right. Been playing Orc Rogue for 14 years. Oh my God, this is crazy.
So honestly, that makes me, when I think about what I want to do for my shaman, I mean, because honestly, like, I like the idea, my playstyle. I like the idea of having that 2-minute stun every 2 minutes. You know what I mean? AOE stun every 2 minutes. Tarn for me, like, or getting, saying 1 out of 5 times being able to get out of stun. If I'm playing elemental, I think for me, like, Tarn just makes that stronger for me.
Okay, so Svarti had a good point. Thank you, Svarti, for pointing this out. He says reread the warrior talent again. It says this hardiness talent or Iron Will. He says buy an additional 3% per point. What does that say?
3% per point for 15%.
Buy
It's
an-
still
buy an-
50% of X.
Okay, so increases your chance to resist stun and charm effects by an additional 15%. Why
So
would
that,
they
to me-
why would they put the word additional in there if it was just what you were
So
saying?
you're saying by that math, you can have 55% stun resistance.
That's no way.
That's
Absolutely
insane.
not.
Well, what I'm saying is, why is the word additional here in this town? Maybe I should pull it up on the stream, dude. Maybe I should.
Dude, you gotta realize there's a lot of wording in vanilla. WoW. Like we
The
said,
two steps suck so bad.
like
They
when it
actually
says increases your healing up to 43, that's not true.
That's
It's
not
just
true.
43.
It's 43. The spell coefficient changes it.
That's what it means by the spell coefficient, because certain spells. So if you're a druid and you have a 3.5 healing touch, you're getting 100% of that 43 healing. But if you're a priest,
There's no
using
way
flash
something in
shield-
game could provide someone 55% stun
You don't
resistance.
think so?
That's just
No.
insane.
I mean,
It's insane.
So look at
it's
it.
game
right here.
breaking.
It's right here. Let me go right here. Game breaking. You think this is game breaking? Iron Will
Yeah.
increases your chance to resist stun and charm effects by an additional 15%. Why would they put additional in there?
Oh, let me look at the priest talent. Let me look at the priest talent, because let me look how that's worded.
Because 50% of X is still additional.
Let me look at hardiness.
So,
you're still
increases
adding
your
things
chance
here.
to resist.
Why wouldn't you
stun.
just say by 15%?
Because additional is the same thing as by 15.
But why put additional in there?
No,
No, it's the
still
same
sucks.
language. It's the same language. There's no difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying.
Okay, you're kind of right. So hardiness says the same thing though. Hardiness also says by an additional 25%.
Yeah, if you're adding, you're still adding, right? You're adding a percentage.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, Unbreakable
Yeah, you might be
Will
right
is the
here,
same
man.
talent for priests. We have the same talent. Increases your chance to resist stun, fear, and silence effects by an additional 15%. It's additional of what you have. Additional
Correct.
of what you have.
50%
yeah.
of what you have plus that is that, right? That's it's X times 0.15 plus X. That's the formula.
Chauncey, good. Yeah, it's definitely a Kevin Jordan question. We can ask Kevin.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I already talked to him, but if anybody else will get to talk to
Yeah.
him.
Oh, this is a big deal though. I have to say.
It's
kind of a
not
big
really,
deal.
because it's still pretty good. It's still good.
So what does it end up being? Like 20%? Melderon said all in, even with this
Around
warrior
About
talent?
21%.
Even
Yeah,
if
about
you're
21%.
orc, even if you're warrior and you get this talent,
and you're an orc, yes.
it's only 20%.
Yep.
Man, that seems night and day between the 50% that I thought it was at.
It is. It's significantly
it's-
different.
yeah.
It's a huge
But
difference.
could you imagine being able to resist every other stun?
That
That's
sounds like the good life. That sounds like Rogue's gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's a little too.
Too much?
I think 20% is very fair.
Is that why
It still
people have
makes-
said on private servers that the orc racial is busted? You've heard
They're
that before,
probably
right?
putting it to 25%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Possible.
People were saying on private servers for the longest time, if you guys remember, people were saying that the orc stun thing seems way higher than it should be. I have heard
Or
that.
they're adding it to the 15 and making it 40.
That's
which
what I
is
think
Oh
they're
my
doing.
god.
All right,
You know
Blizzard
what, though?
changes. We
Honestly,
need changes so we can never get stunned by a rogue ever again.
Even if I'm a rogue, it still makes me double think who I'm going to attack first. If I see an orc shaman versus a troll shaman, I'm going after that troll shaman first.
18.75% isn't shabby.
It's not.
I mean,
No.
there's nothing to write home to mom about and be like, Mom, I got
Yeah, it
18%
is.
chance to resist stun.
It's
That's a
18.75.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
no,
That
just-
means like you're like if I'm a rogue, I'm still going to go after someone who doesn't have that first.
I guess.
Absolutely. That's the same class. So if I see a troll or an orc, I'm going after the troll first. If they're both, you know what I mean? They're both shamans. They're both absolutely.
But you hear warriors, like orc warriors specifically going into prot to pick this up. It kind of doesn't seem worth it to me anymore. I've heard of this. This is like a common PvP spec as an orc warrior to go into protection enough to get this hardiness talent. For 5 talent points, you're telling me it's only going to increase the stun resistance by 3%. I'm rethinking that if that's viable.
What other? I mean, think about that. What other talent in the game provides you that much? That'd be the most amazing talent in the game.
yeah.
It would. I mean, like, come on. That's every talent in the game increases crit by 1%.
Dawkins in here,
increases
help.
This by 1%.
Dokken, help, man.
Dokken.
Help, Dokken, help. What do you make of this, dude? What do you make of this, man? Do you think that the orc ratio plus hardiness is how much stun resist is that, Dokken?
All I'm saying is this, Dawkins. The base stun resistance for all classes is 15 and races is 15%. The tooltip says increases stun resistance by an additional 25 or by an additional 25%. Kargoz is adding 15 to 25 to make 40. I'm taking 25% of 15 to get a total of 18.75%. There's no way that orcs have 40% stun resistance. That is ridiculous. That's my opinion.
Damn, I sure hope they do.
Base is 20 or 25% for orc.
It's possible that the
It's-
talent
it's
is implemented
15,
in another
isn't it?
way than the orc ratio. Maybe the talent is
It's
the
just
sum and the racial is not. Even though it's the same words, but they might just have implemented it differently. Or is it not possible?
I don't know.
Wait.
I'm starting to feel like private servers had it wrong and they pretty much added it up. Like you have this 15% chance to base. You have a 15% base chance to resist stun. They added hardiness to that, so it became 40, and then they added this warrior talent on top, and that's why it was so.
Which is
busted.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a big deal. That
Remember,
big
we
deal.
know their tooltips are not very clear. We've already experienced that.
Yeah.
We've tested that out. And spell coefficients are a perfect example. When that thing says up to 50 spell damage, that is so wrong. It's like that 50 spell damage is going to your spells, but the coefficients alter that number. There's no RNG with the gear. That doesn't exist,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing in the game that says, oh, you got 20 spell power for this frostbolt and 50 for this bolt. No, that's not what's happening. The reason it says up to is because the coefficients are different
Right.
per spell.
This would be a game changer, Melderon. I actually think you underestimate potentially how many people are under a misconception potentially if this is true, because a lot of people are rolling orc.
Dude, we can test it on PTR, and we'll see if it's wrong or if it's right, and we'll see. We can test it now on our PTR and test it when Classic comes out and see which was
We should
more correct.
because there are many thousands of people that just go PvP orc is BIS, and it probably potentially still is BIS, given what you're saying, but it's just much less powerful than I thought, man.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. We'll test it out. This is some good stuff
We got
right now.
we got Ion in the chat. We got Perfect Stealth in the chat. We got Dokken in the chat. We got Chili in the chat. We got a lot of people in the chat. So on. Yeah. So honestly, either way, it's still strong. I mean, it's still honestly it's still to me. So the only thing, like you said, additional 15%, like that just makes me think 15% plus 15%.
It does seem that way,
For-
right? But that's
you know,
also how the
yeah.
hardiness has reads as well, too.
But
right?
think about how crazy 40% stun resistance is.
Well, it sounds awesome. It sounds
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna play Orc
Yeah.
Warrior right now, so I can literally resist stuns all day.
I understand, but think about how unbalanced that is.
Is it? I guess it is.
40 versus 15.
Yeah, that's pretty big, man. Well, it's supposed to get up to
Man's
50. Well, it's
dead.
supposed to get up to 50 with the talent, man. That's the cool thing.
Here he goes. It said, apply this concept to money.
Thank you.
25% additional dollars to $20
doesn't give you $45. Thank you. Thank you.
Receive
Thank
an
you, man.
additional $5. Here's another $5. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Dude,
That
that's
was
a
like
good
his
joke.
money where his mouth is.
Someone
right
clip
there.
that, dude. That's pretty funny, man.
Yeah.
That was perfect, dude.
Apply this concept
Oh,
to money.
that's great.
25%
I'm not good at the
additional
maths, man.
dollars to
I'm very
$20
terrible.
Yeah, I
Wolfram
know.
Alpha got me through
$25.
college.
Quick maths. Quick
You
maths.
receive an
2 plus
additional
2
$5.
is 4, right?
Here's another
Something
$5.
like
2
that.
plus 2 is 4. Anyway.
So I mean that's really cool because there's a lot of shit like this in the game that people think you know, but you don't. You know, you think you do. But
I
you
could
don't.
be 100%
Yeah.
wrong here. Or stun resistance could be 40%. I just don't think
Either
it's-
way, what we can agree on is the tooltips in vanilla are really like confusing, and there's a
They're
lot
very
of
bad.
nuance that they. Well, it's not even that they're bad though, because like how much? What are they gonna write a
Dude.
paragraph? Like you hover over your
Yeah,
skill and then
exactly.
freaking
yeah.
like go to page 2 to see additional information about your skill. Like
So I was always told back in the day, it was like, oh, if you have a green item that gives plus 33 healing, it's better than a blue item that gives 30 because it says up to 33 healing. I was told that, oh, if it's a green item that just says plus 33 healing, you're getting all of that 33. When if it's another item, you're getting whatever that dice rolls up to 33.
well, one
Which
thing.
is bullshit.
A nice
They're
little
both the
nugget,
same.
and Navik told me, I don't know if you guys know about this in the chat, maybe this is obvious, but it was a very clean way of explaining it to me, is that apparently anything you train over level 20, skills, Defcamp, anything you train over level 20
Yes.
has no penalty to the spell power coefficient or whatever.
Correct.
Yes, after level 20.
Isn't that-
Before level 20, there's a penalty.
Before-
yeah.
So
level 20,
clean,
yeah.
but there's still potentially reasons to use skills that you get below level 20, but potentially based on mana or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's just a very
Well,
nice
yeah,
thing to keep in mind.
resurrection. But the
Yeah.
thing is, when people, if you like lightning bolt for shaman, right? So lightning bolt rank 1, let's say you have 100 spell power, and the coefficient for anything above rank 4 lightning bolt is an 86% spell coefficient. So essentially, if you have 100 spell power, 86 spell power goes to your lightning bolts rank 4 and above. Rank
Right.
4 and rank 3 and below, it doesn't follow that scheme. So you can't rank 1 lightning bolt someone that normally does 10 damage and make it do 100 damage because you have 86 spell power.
Right,
There's
right,
a nerf
right.
there.
There's a nerf there.
Because the cast time for lightning bolt is like a second rank 1.
Makes
It's like
sense.
boom. You can throw out so
Right.
much damage, it'd be insane.
Makes sense.
So that's why they do that, yeah.
And remember, the more spell power you get, the better down ranking becomes.
Yeah, we'll go over that. We have a guy coming on it
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because the percent change is larger in lower ranks than it would be in larger than in smaller. The percent change in spell power is larger in lower ranks than it is in higher ranks.
Yes.
So you get more healing power or
Mm.
potential from bonus spell damage or bonus spell power in lower ranks.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't down
As long as you
rank.
don't get below level 20.
Right. Exactly.
Then it's
But that
losing
doesn't
you.
mean like. So I was thinking, oh, then that means I should never down rank until I get a certain amount. But no, because you want to use certain spells. Like, oh, if you know someone only needs to be healed this much and he uses less mana, go ahead and
Use it.
use
Yeah.
heal rank 1.
Right.
Because
4,
even
yeah.
though you're not getting as much out of it as you would if you had like 500 spell power or healing power, you know what I mean? It's still better than using a rank 4 greater heal that uses way more mana and it's going to overheal a target. So yeah, go ahead and use that.
Do you guys remember offhand when down ranking stopped being a thing? I think down ranking is an amazing
I love
aspect
down
of
ranking.
vanilla. It's
I
so
love
cool.
it.
It's
dude.
a huge aspect.
But when did it stop being relevant? Anybody in the chat know? Maybe?
Wrath, I think Wrath,
Wrath.
right? I did not down rank in Wrath. I remember for a fact I didn't down rank in Wrath.
I think wasn't it in Cataclysm?
TBC was the last down ranking.
I'm pretty sure it was Wrath. Yeah, TBC, because in TBC on my down ranked, almost just as much as I did in vanilla. I had multiple ranks of my greater heals, multiple ranks of my circle of healing, prayer of healing, multiple ranks of almost every heal.
Mhm.
Wrath of the Lich King, I went disc, so I did change, but I had no multiple ranks in Wrath.
I mean, they eventually
Yeah, that's
removed it altogether, though, right? I'm just trying to remember where that was.
When they removed it
They
altogether?
removed it when they removed spell ranks, and that was in Cataclysm.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but I'm pretty sure like no one used it. Blame
Oh,
TX
Blame, nice,
in
dude.
the house.
$25 from Blaine, Texas, dude. Every
This
stream,
is
this
like
guy's
the
in here.
Discovery Channel
Look
of
what he
Classic
said. Read what he
WoW.
said.
This is
I learn something new with every episode.
the Discovery. Yes, we are the BBC of Classic WoW.
Yeah,
Thank you very
yeah,
much, Blaine,
yeah.
Texas, man. Really appreciate it. We are the National Geographic of WoW. Thanks to
Yeah.
Melderon. Thank you very much, Blaine, for the 25, man, and your continued support for the channel, man.
Does that mean I should take my shirt off?
Yes, please. Please do. Thank you very much for the 25.
But it just goes to show you how much we're learning about this game every day still.
I'm learning every day, guys.
Yeah,
And don't think that just because you didn't know, like, there are things Melderon and I, Kargoz and I, Dunedain and I, all of us are learning every single day, and we will continue to learn. Like, people always said, oh, how can you guys talk about Classic WoW for days and days on end? Guys, we haven't even, like, scratched the surface.
No joke,
Once Classic comes out, there's going to be so much more to talk about.
It's going to be a
We're gonna
relearning
continue to
process,
have
too,
this.
man. There's going to be all this relearning. Melderon, you talked with who was his name again on Countdown? I was
Kevin
watching.
Jordan.
It was Kevin Jordan, right?
Kevin.
Yeah. Did he say anything about? I wonder if anyone said anything about this. I'm curious if anyone knows in the chat.
About what, stun resistance?
No. About like.
Oh.
So you have all this crazy complexity to the game. Like, was this all intentional? Do you think Blizzard planned to have all this craziness in the game and for the community to
I
figure it
think
out?
the
Like,
PvP meta stuff was totally not. They didn't plan on that at all, dude.
or even just the nuances of all these abilities and the tooltips, not even be able to explain them. Like, you think they
Oh.
intentionally? You think that they intentionally made the world really confusing to the point where they didn't even understand it, and they were just like, let the community figure it out, man. We'll just put it out there.
That's a good question. I don't know. Like he was surprised at some of the stuff I talked about with the shaman. Like he didn't realize that, you know, I think he kind of forgot. I was like, we were talking about shamans, elemental shamans and raids, and I'm like, you know, their cursive elements doesn't affect nature resistance, and he's like, and he kind of thought about that for a couple seconds, and I think they overlooked some stuff, man. I'm not saying that they did a bad job. I'm just saying that
They did the best job because they overlooked it, man.
They wanted elemental shaman to be raid viable. They wanted every spec to be raid viable, every single one.
And they kind of are raid viable, but they're not raid optimal.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. They wanted them to be more welcomed, is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
I remember when I was listening to Melderon, and when Kevin was explaining, he was a really smart guy. Don't get me wrong, like super smart guy, right? Like he seemed like some 200 IQ.
Wait, you're talking about Kevin or are you talking about John Stats?
No, Kevin. I remember the John Stats one too, but the
Because
one,
my
you
Kevin
did with Tyler
interview
Jones-
hasn't been published yet.
I listened to it live though. It was on Twitch. Josh.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It was live.
He was streaming it on Twitch. I remember that. But basically, it seemed like, you know, he was open to the idea that stuff was kind of an oversight. You know, it wasn't like he was like super drop the gavel. This is exactly why we did everything. You know, he was almost like, you know, maybe we just didn't get around to it or whatever. It almost felt like he gave off the vibe that, and I kind of hope that this is how it happened. They put all this complexity into the world, and then they just said, we haven't even figured this stuff out. We kind of have a general sense of it. Let's push this world out there. And that's kind of that true sandbox type world, man. And the community just figured it out over all these years.
Yeah.
And the game was so powerful and mysterious that it stood the test of time, even against all the tools that we have in modern society right now. All the spreadsheets and everything attacking this open world, we still haven't figured it all out.
Yeah, I think
That's
Dawkins
very
talked to him
true,
too on Warriors
yeah.
about two episodes before that.
Oh, really?
Dawkins talked to him. Taladrill's talked to him. Yep.
Guys, this makes me so excited. It makes me so happy that we're getting this. That like, there's so much. Melderon and I sometimes we just talk about this stuff. Theory crafting has become a hobby. It's become so interesting to look at this and say, oh wow, I know how to better play my character now, or I know how to better, more suited in certain fights to do this, to do that. And it just really just opens your mind to different styles of play, different styles of, what you can. It's just so awesome. I love it.
So then,
Hamster wheel in the house.
Hamster Will saying hi. What's up, brother?
Oh, hey, what's up, Hamster? I saw your chimney thing, man, the other day. That was awesome. Learned a lot
Yeah, it was
about you,
very
bro.
good.
Learned a lot about you, man.
was
Hamster's a
really,
legend,
really
man.
good.
Hamster's one of the inspirations for me making content back in the day.
Hamster is honestly one of the inspirations. Like, I don't know, him, Orkbit, I mean, these guys have been doing it for so long.
Where is Orkbit, man?
It
Hamster,
wasn't
you gotta
for
hit up
them,
Orkbit,
dude.
bro. Get him back
If it wasn't
in
for these guys, who knows if we wouldn't even be getting Classic. It's OG right there.
Absolutely.
was the first
Hamster wheel.
podcast on Classic WoW private servers I ever listened to with those Dutch Kebab and Mr. GM.
And yeah.
Mr.
Yeah, I
GM's
love you
still
too,
doing his
Hamster.
thing, dude. He's doing the retail thing, though. I'm curious to where's Orkbit's at, though. I think he started a new job or something. He's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Orkbit and Hamster are just great people in general, and I mean, they play Shamans. What's better than that? They played so.
Oh, status. Everyone loves Frost too. We were just saying.
Oh my
that
God,
people who-
Frostadamus, yeah.
I think Hamster and Orkbit were more of the. They were around when NOS was still relevant.
Yeah,
Is what we were
but
talking about.
Frost has
Yeah.
been such an inspiration to us as well, and what a nice guy, and just someone like who just loves classic WoW. I mean, as far as like European content creators, dude, you guys are like insane over there. You're so good.
Frost has a lot of polish, man. He puts some cinematic elements to his videos.
He
for
does.
Sure.
Beautiful,
I love the music
beautiful.
too.
Yeah, he goes for
Oh
the
my
real
God.
like mellow vibe, dude. The chill vibe.
His recent video, what was it, Mel?
He just put one up today about gold farming. He put one great one about fishing. Excellent.
Oh, that's
about
right. But
fishing.
what was the one we were watching together? It was it was so good. It was like
I
listening
forget.
to. It was
Yeah.
like reading a book almost, and he was talking about all these different aspects of vanilla. Why
I think it was why you should play. 3 reasons to play. Or
Oh,
something
I
like
saw that
There
one.
was-
Yeah.
5 reasons why to play. I saw that one.
Yeah.
So good, so good. Oh, and Hamster, I love.
This guy
the,
I like the dude that is super monotone. What's his name? We all know who he's
Mad
talking
season.
about.
Mad season.
It's true.
He
Yeah.
had a new video yesterday.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? Mad season.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty good. He is monotone though, but it doesn't like trigger you. I don't know why. Some people are monotone and it triggers you a little bit, but
Matt Season is
relaxes
from
me.
US, isn't
It
he?
relaxes me,
It
honestly. Like
yeah.
Hamster Will says, me and Orkbit actually comboed Ellie Shamans a few days ago.
That was a good video.
Got a vid up on my channel. It was so much fun. And oh yeah, Frostadamus is all about top quality content too. Hell yeah, brother. I love the camaraderie that we get here on the Classic WoW community as well.
Absolutely.
Like,
I love that
everyone-
it's still small enough too that we all know each other. Isn't that cool? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you get to actually see each other in the chat and stuff. Like Big Hamster docking in here, dude. That's so cool, man. That's one of the
It
biggest
is.
things.
It's
We
beautiful.
need Matt Season in the chat though.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I would love it. I know he's
a big boy
got,
streamer.
he's a big boy. Yeah.
He's the biggest probably.
Yeah. Ooh, Platinum's in
Yeah,
here too.
yeah.
What's up, Platinum?
Platinum in the house.
Platinum's new video was so good. Oh my god, you guys
So
gotta watch
good.
it.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
there are
dude.
so many good content.
And he's my
creators for
neighbor
Classic
too, man.
WoW.
Platinum. When are we gonna get a beer, man? Once you turn 21, I guess. that'll be the
Legit.
Is he not
neighbors?
21
I
yet?
don't think so, man.
Aw.
Yeah.
He's very talented well, it doesn't matter what age you are, but he's very talented.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I was a
I
little
just can't
knucklehead back
believe-
then. You know one thing I thought about too? Remember? Okay, so I distinctly remember having this argument. I was at Applebee's back in the day with my friend Max, who's coming to my wedding, and we were sitting in Applebee's and we were talking about WoW, and he was playing Warlock at the time, and I was playing Hunter, and we were going back and forth on the game, and you know, I was actually a little knucklehead. Like I was saying, dude, WoW's graphics are kind of kiddie, kind of corny. I kept saying like I wasn't liking the cartoony aspect of it back then, like an idiot. And now, man, you see it in the background right now. I'm so happy the Classic was designed in this way, because if the graphics were even marginally more realistic, the game probably wouldn't be viable in 2019, man.
Yes, so true.
Even just a little bit more realistic, we probably wouldn't play it and probably wouldn't have
Like
the
to
same
look at
level.
like EverQuest and like how they try to go a little bit more realistic, but dude, I think WoW has aged so well. That's why I was such an advocate for the graphics to stay the way they were. I think you really get such a feel of, you know, I always say this when I play retail, you get that feeling of like as soon as you see those graphics, you associate it with retail. And I love to associate those old graphics with classic for me. That's why it was really important for me to keep that. Like Melderon says, it's an art form and something that we should try to, you know, put back as much as we can and not try to change it. But you know, and it's not a game that we've been able to play for so long. It's a game that we haven't been able to play. So it's not like
Honestly,
we're remastering it.
Retail graphics aren't bad at all. It's
Yeah.
maybe unpopular to say on this stream, but really, retail graphics are very good. But when we play Classic WoW, we want the old graphics for
Yeah.
nostalgia.
I think the graphics are good in retail WoW, Dunedain. I agree with you. I don't like the
I don't like the cutesy. Is that what you said? The cutesiness or what? What'd you say?
character models. Character models.
Oh
yeah,
character
yeah,
models.
totally
Way
agree.
too goofy.
Yeah.
I saw Torin jumping and his hands were doing like this weird, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Gnomes,
I don't-
on God,
Oh.
gnomes look like they have Benjamin Button disease. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna tell you right now, guys. They have Benjamin Button disorder. Like, I don't know who made that, but they made them hyper realistic. Like you can see all like the sunspots in their face or something. Like, it's, I don't know.
And the cutesy stuff does bother me as well, Kargoz.
Yeah, the cutesy.
Yeah.
The lightning is maybe a little less good
Yeah.
in retail. Everything looks
Oh,
kind of the same.
Pandas just make me want to. Oh god, pandas make me want to shut the game off. Yeah. it's-
I also love the I love looking up in the sky in Classic and seeing that haze.
yeah.
What about
Uh,
upright
it just-
orcs, dude? Does that bother you or no?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't. I actually
I
haven't
haven't even
seen
seen
them
them
really that
yet,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty much as a general thing, though, all the new models to me look like goofier. That'd be the
Dude,
one word I
humans
could.
are so bad.
Not
Yeah,
better.
it looks like Disney. It looks like a Disney movie.
It does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think Tar are the
those
worst.
effects are pretty good on the landscapes. I mean, those
Yeah.
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 It's like Alice in Wonderland. But what I said before, and what I don't know if you guys agree in the chat, but if as long as you kind of get the sky in there a little bit, like you're not just looking straight down at the dirt, if you can just in any zone in the game, maybe find me one zone that this doesn't apply to. If you guys disagree, but any zone in the game, as long as you get like a little bit of a landscape shot, whether you got a little bit of the floor, a little bit of the trees in the zone, and you get the sky, and you screenshot that in any zone, it looks like a beautiful watercolor painting. And if someone were to paint that, you could hang it up and it would look visually stunning. Any zone. I don't know how they achieved that with this look. This
So
might
true.
be one of the most powerful and iconic looks of any video game, the Warcraft look. I don't know if you guys agree, but
I agree 100%. Like you said, it's almost like an oil painting. Almost has that oil painting feel
Yeah.
to it, you know?
yeah, it really is so stunning, man.
Yeah.
If it was
Humans,
5%
yeah.
more realistic, even 5% more realistic,
Yeah.
it might not be here right now. I don't know. 10% more realistic.
I actually prefer the alpha female troll. You ever see that? Why don't you pull that up, Kargoz.
Oh god, yeah. I'll pull it
Alpha,
up.
World of Warcraft alpha female troll.
Dude, okay, that I was
They were bad.
no
It's
change.
not-
A lot of
it's
people
not
like the new
bad,
character models. Wow.
honestly. Not bad, but I think they wanted to have some kind of more beautiful female character for Horde.
Yeah.
I don't know. So they
You
might
can't get more
switch.
beautiful than that. What are you talking about,
Oh,
dude?
she's pretty big. Let me see here, guys. You can see this, guys. Dude, here we go. The original alpha female troll right here. Hunchback of Notre Dame right here. Look at that, man.
Oh god, there it is.
Oh.
It's a troll, man.
Was it only females? Did they have the males more upright?
The males look very similar to how they do now, honestly, but the female, dude, she just looks like a wretch. Like
She
I had it up on the stream the other day. Someone said it was another man's wretch is another man's wife.
Yo, so they only made the female trolls look like that? Like the male trolls were like fine?
Those
They
were
were, yeah.
pretty much normal to what they look like now.
Huh?
Peak
Oh, that's
female performance.
that
Yeah.
really
I think I actually read an old article where
My
they
wife.
stated that they wanted something for female players at the Horde side, and that's why they changed it. I'm pretty confident I found
I
something.
Yeah.
would say that's probably accurate because, like, I don't know what women would want to look like.
Undead looked pretty different too back in the alpha. The female.
Dude, this one really shows it, dude. This one is real, like, squatted over for sure. Ooh, man.
Everyone was at Defcamp. The boy that would encounter a female troll and super like that shit.
Dude, look at that, dude. Look at that.
Oh my god!
How are more trolls being produced if that's what the women look like?
It's so beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it.
Now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Now we here, Buddha.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, but the alpha dwarf too. The faces of the alpha dwarf, they were like, their eyes were like.
Some of the really old Alpha World of Warcraft models, though, they kind of look cool to me, though. I think this is what they kind of originally looked like, the humans.
Yeah.
They looked a little bit strange. If you watch the earliest videos of Classic WoW, they look interesting, man. Oh, man, that's the
The
undead.
humans, I actually liked though. Do you notice that there are different model humans? What is it? The Defias in the Dead Mines, or where is it? Melderon, where you have...
A lot of the pirates and the Defias models are unique. There's like a second human model.
Kargoz, thank you for having
addition
me
to
in
the human
stream
models we
today,
have,
but I must go
right?
now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
Chris. Ooh, another
Donation
15
for that slick ads blazer you're wearing
Read
today.
that, Kargoz.
Cast Blazer. Chris says, Kargoz, thank you for having me in your stream today, but I must go now. Here's another donation. Thank you, thank you, Chris, man. You're too generous, man. I really appreciate it, man.
Blazer. He loves the Blazer.
Chris,
He loves the
you
Blazer.
gotta hit me
see?
up in the Discord, man. I gotta give you the rank, man. I gotta give you the rank. Thank you so much for your
Zug
for the donations,
Zug, brother. Zug Zug.
Thank you, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, the dwarf. I mean, dwarfs were pretty bad, and a lot of people don't like the classic dwarf. I actually like the classic dwarf, but I mean, they are a little hideous and grotesque to a degree. And Melderon even said, some people have said that the actual new character models, the only ones that are better are the dwarves. A lot of people.
Dwarves actually look pretty damn good. I'll give them that.
Really? Let
Yeah,
me see. No,
yeah.
let me compare
That's
this.
the only one I like.
Dwarves,
Humans look so bad.
retail WoW
Human
model.
males look so bad.
Yeah, they
They
really
all
do.
like to have some
So
kind of
goofy.
disease,
Yeah.
like some kind of mental. I don't know, man. It's
Where's the
Retail
Oh.
dwarf, the current
what do I even
retail.
type? How do I access retail WoW content?
Just look at dwarf.
New dwarf model World of Warcraft.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's see. This is it right here. This is what it is.
yeah. Oh, those are
just put
the
new dwarf character model. That's all you need to put.
I
those
still-
are the allied
still,
race
like,
ones. I
I think
think.
he's
but,
about to hop up next to Snow White, though. I don't know. I mean, it's all right. Yeah, I feel you. It's not as bad as the other ones.
Yeah, the old ones are pretty. Just their noses were very jagged. But I liked them. I didn't. I mean, yeah. Dwarves are thick than a bowl of oatmeal.
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Look at the Tauren one, man. That one looks so goofy.
The Tauren one is the worst I've
Oh,
ever
it's the
seen.
worst, dude. Yo, are there any female ogres in WoW?
No,
No, right?
not in vanilla. I don't know about other expansions.
Never saw them.
All right,
Dude,
guys.
that Tauren looks like he's about to go on a magic carpet and just start
Yeah.
flying around Aladdin Land or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Closing statements, guys. You guys want to start wrapping it up? We've been streaming for a little bit
Yeah,
longer than usual.
I-
today,
No
2.5
changes.
hours.
I just want to say
changes.
that no changes, baby. I just want to say that today another blue post. Amazing news, guys. Even though like it was, I mean, I think it's pretty big news with the spell bashing that we have the 1.12 vanilla type spell bashing. Warriors gonna be charging each other. That feel, but the best thing is what they said in that one sentence, man, and that's the authenticity. They're looking for the authenticity of Classic. They're talking to us. This is another week in a row that we got a blue post from the developers of Classic WoW. This is huge. They're continuing the conversation. This is amazing. What else? Right?
Yeah,
It's great news, guys.
pretty much agree.
I love it. We're headed in the right direction, right? I think right now we're trending in the right direction. I feel
Duh.
good about things. Blizzard's stepping up, turning over a new leaf, communicating with us every week. We
Yeah.
predicted the blue post yesterday. Who was it? One of you guys was like, "We're gonna get a blue post tomorrow," and it happened.
I said that every
Dunedain.
day of the week, though. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I said it in the Discord chat.
oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with us today. It's always a
Oh.
pleasure hanging out with you guys. Any what's that?
I'm just gonna probably be streaming later on. I'm gonna take my time to get something to eat, and I'll be back on later on tonight.
Remember, we got a meeting at 7.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. If by
Yeah.
some
Okay.
So,
miracle you're not subscribed to Dunedain and Melderon and Defcamp, guys, be sure to look them up and subscribe to them. But I'm pretty
Or-
sure you guys
you
already
can,
are.
you can find all episodes of this show on my channel or ClassicWow.live. I will link it again in the chat.
Oh yeah, you gotta make us admins, Kargoz, so we can start linking stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll do that. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it for this one. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed the show and keep fighting the good fight, man. See you guys later. Peace.
Yeah, guys. All right. Peace.
Bye.